Hey guys. This is part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Digimon Tamer. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start.
We are pain, that's all. We are God.
Chapter 6. It's viral. Monday morning 6:30 a.m. Naruto's eyes opened, and instead of seeing the light of the sun, he found himself in a dark void of nothingness. However, as he walked and suddenly saw a bright light, Naruto looked around to find himself surrounded by buildings that were all too familiar to him. The buildings of Konoha no Sato. Naruto growled as he passed through. The people turned and glared at him before they started to follow him and curse at him. What the fuck are you doing here in our village, demon? Get out. No one wants you, no one will ever like you. Naruto turned and his eyes flickered red. Shut the fuck up or I'll kill you, Naruto roared. However, as he said this, many more people joined the crowd, and then the crowd parted to form a path, and Naruto's eyes widened as he saw a mop of pink hair. The green eyes of his former crush glared at him. You bitch, Naruto growled. Naruto suddenly felt his face sting as Sakura slapped him. Shut up, demon, Sakura said. Then all of a sudden Naruto was surrounded, in a circle, by the members of Team 8 and 10 along with Team Guy. You are not one of us, just a blasphemy. I can't believe you actually thought UCC could have been our friend. I've always hated foxes, you'll never be part of the pack. Sasuke-kun will always be a hero, you won't even make it as Hokage, let alone a shinobi. You've been nothing but a troublesome monster. You can't deny your own destiny, Kyuubi no Kitsune, this is your fate. You'll always be an outcast. Our flames of youth shall snuff your flames of deceit and hatred, foul beast Yosh. Naruto gazed in shock as he saw the ones that he still cared for in Konoha, verbally assaulting him. No, I still cared for you. You betrayed me, Naruto cried out. But then Sakura smirked evilly before punching him in the face, and then Naruto blacked out. Naruto groaned as he opened his eyes and found himself high above the ground. He looked to see the entire village of Konoha looking up at him with evil smiles of glee as he hung from the crucifix that they had fashioned for him. Sakura smiled as she looked up at him. Fucking bitch, he growled. Then he saw Tsunade and his eyes widened. Tsunade-ne-chan? Naruto gasped. Tsunade unrolled a scroll and read from it. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, you are charged with the crimes of the attempted murder of Sasuke Uchiha, as well as endangering your teammates during the mission. For this your punishment is death, Tsunade read before rolling the scroll back up. Naruto then saw Sakura hold up a burning torch and throw it at his crucifix, and it started to burn. Naruto stared in shock before he gritted his teeth in anger. Assholes, he thought as the flames licked his flesh, and then the orange flames skyrocketed and burnt him. However, as orange flames crossed his vision, Naruto found himself once again in the darkness with the orange flames still around him. The flames formed a large wall, and then Naruto stared into the flames to see two black lines. The lines widened and formed a large red iris with a single pupil in it. Then three comma-like markings formed around the dot before the flames fashioned themselves and took on the color of Sasuke's face, the image of his curse seal level 2 form. His detached head floating in the flames. Sasuke, Naruto growled. Sasuke chuckled. Why don't you just embrace your destiny of what you are? Sasuke asked. You are a demon and you will always be. Sasuke then began to chuckle, before his chuckling became louder. Shut up, TME, the blonde yelled, but then Sasuke's chuckling turned into full-blown laughter. His Sharingan eyes boring into Naruto's sapphire ones, his laughter suddenly becoming deeper in tone and much darker. The Tomo in Sasuke's Sharingan began to swirl, going around and around before they started to sink into the pupil of his eyes. The large pupil then stopped spinning and then lengthened to form a slitted pupil. The flames around the pair of red eyes changed into the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi then grabbed Naruto and chuckled darkly before a sky blue color spread across Kyuubi's irises, and then Kyuubi glowed, Naruto still clutched in its iron grip. The glowing stopped before Naruto found himself staring into a large humanoid form made entirely of light with 8 wings flapping behind its back. The light suddenly stopped, and Naruto found himself staring face to face with a large boy with 8 wings and wore a white Greek-themed tunic. Golden bands were wrapped around the boy's wrists and ankles, and purple markings were on the boy's chest. The digital hazard symbol emblazoned on the back of his hand. 2 tiny wings flapped on the figure's head as he held Naruto, and the boy's sky blue eyes stared at Naruto's sapphire ones. "Release from the prison, please. I need you, Naruto. Help me," the boy said in a pleading tone. Naruto's eyes widened as the gigantic image of the angelic-looking boy held him. "Voice, is that you? Release me from the prison, please, Naruto. You're my only hope." The boy's voice emerged again in the form of the voice Naruto heard from his blue card. Then the boy chuckled, and then a dark flame-like pattern, like Sasuke's curse seal, raced across the boy's body, before changing the boy into a large purple dragon-like behemoth with a golden-colored mask-like face. "Release me now, boy." The dragon then opened its mouth and Naruto's vision went dark. Naruto sprung up from his bed gasping. He shook his head and found Doraemon standing there next to him with a cup of ramen in his hand. Doraemon frowned and handed the cup to Naruto, who took it. "Arigato, Doraemon," Naruto said, taking the ramen cup. He ate some of the noodles and drank the broth at the same time as he brought the cup to his lips. "Naruto, you're starting to worry me. You've been having nightmares since last week, Monday," Doraemon said. Naruto frowned. "It's nothing but a nightmare, Doraemon. Just let it go. Besides, I'm going on the field trip to the Digimon gaming factory," Naruto said with a happy tone. Doraemon stared before smirking. "Yeah, I guess that would cheer you up," the rookie-level Digimon said. "So what time do you have to be there?" Naruto glanced at the clock. It was 6:40 a.m. "I have to get there for around 7:15, so I'll eat my ramen and then get ready," Naruto said. Doraemon nodded before going into the shower to have one himself. A few minutes later, Doraemon had showered, and then Naruto walked in and had his. He stepped out with a towel wrapped around his waist before shoving Doraemon out of the bedroom and closing the door to change. "Hey, you don't have to shove," Doraemon grumbled, his tail swishing back and forth in annoyance. Naruto walked out fully dressed in his usual outfit before taking his Digimon card case and Democrat Arkansas before going towards the door. Doraemon watched Naruto leave before he spied the piece of paper on the kitchen counter. The Digimon watched the paper for a few seconds before walking up to it and looking it over, and his eyes widened. "Shit, this is Naruto's permission slip," Doraemon cried out in alarm before grabbing the paper and rushing towards the door, but paused for a bit before going back into the kitchen and grabbed a piece of bread and then left the apartment. "Can't forget the essentials, now can I?" he said to himself as he ate the slice of whole wheat. With Naruto 7:10 a.m. Naruto was walking towards Shinjuku Junior High before seeing his class lines up at the bus that had come to take them. Kiyoshi and Katsumi saw their blonde friend and waved to him. Naruto looked at them and walked up to them to tell them hi, but as he reached them, Naruto saw Kiyoshi's face being replaced with Sasuke's and Katsumi's with Sakura's. The two were glaring at him with unbridled hatred. Naruto's eyes widened before he rubbed them and the faces of his former comrades disappeared. "Naruto, you okay?" Katsumi asked with a concerned look. "Yeah, dude, you don't look so good," Kiyoshi added. Naruto chuckled. "Yeah, I'm fine, just a bit of exhaustion. Couldn't sleep well last night," Naruto said. "No big deal." Katsumi and Kiyoshi nodded before taking out their permission slips. Naruto blinked and pointed at the strips of paper in his friend's hands. What are those?" the blonde Tamer asked. "These are the permission slips that Mr. Kazuma gave us to allow us to go on the field trip," Kiyoshi said. "You did remember your permission slip, right?" Naruto gulped, and then felt around in his pockets. He felt his Democrat Arkansas, but other than that, there was nothing in his pockets. Naruto gulped. I'll be right back," Naruto said, and then ran back before turning the corner to run back to his apartment. "Baka, baka, baka," he said to himself, slapping his own forehead. Naruto then continued to run before he crashed into something purple and short with a white-tipped tail. Naruto tripped and fell over the figure, and then figure fell to the ground. Naruto got up and turned to glare at the figure before he realized who it was. "Watch the fuck where you're going, Team," the fox-tailed dragon Digimon said. "Doraemon?" Naruto asked. "Oh, Naruto, there you are. Good thing too, you left this on the kitchen counter," the short-winged dragon said. Naruto took the piece of paper from Doraemon and saw it was his permission slip. "Oh, domo arigato, Doraemon," Naruto said and hugged his Digimon partner. Alright, you're welcome already. Now enough with the hugging or I'll think you're gay," Doraemon said. Naruto growled and then dropped the Digimon onto the hard concrete sidewalk, earning an itai from Doraemon. "Oi, what the hell was that for?" Doraemon growled, his orange eyes glaring at Naruto's blue eyes. "That was for calling me gay, you Digibaka," Naruto growled back. Anime lightning suddenly clashed between their eyes, but then they stopped when they heard the bus horn. "Kyuso, the bus," Naruto muttered before running after it. Doraemon watched as Naruto waved his slip in the air and ran up to Mr. Kazuma. Doraemon shook his head in disappointment. "Humans, you can never understand them," he muttered. Then he sensed a presence on his left, and turned to see the Imp Digimon, Impmon, standing on the tree branch of a nearby tree. Doraemon's eyes narrowed. "Oh, it's just you," Doraemon said before turning to go back to the apartment. "You know you make me sick to my stomach sucking up to that human and letting him treat you like some dog you just picked up from the street. Him ordering you around and call that shit," Impmon said. Doraemon sighed and faced the scarf-wearing Digimon. "I'm not a pet baka. Naruto and I are partners and we look after each other. We see each other as equals, we're the same as bread and butter. We go well together, of course I'm the bread. I wonder if Gilman had any bread?" Doraemon thought. Impmon face-palmed and then looked at Doraemon. "Dear Kami-sama, you're just like Pineapple Head back at the park. Only thinking about bread and your pitiful, retarded excuses for human partners," Impmon said. However, it was there that Doraemon glared at Impmon before jumping and grabbing Impmon with his claws and slamming the smaller Digimon to the ground. He then grabbed Impmon by the throat before pushing Impmon up against the trunk of the tree. "Now listen here, shorty. I may be able to take insults and a few that are directed towards Naruto, but you better watch what you say about my Tamer or you'll find yourself disappearing as red flakes of data," Doraemon growled, his normally round pupils turning slitted and his claws dug into Impmon's skin. "You get my drift?" Impmon chuckled nervously and nodded, and then Doraemon let the Imp Digimon go before the Dragon Digimon went back to the apartment. Impmon dusted himself off before glaring at the other rookie Digimon as he walked away. "Well, I didn't need him to help me with my pranking, and besides I don't need a tamer to be strong. I'm the strongest Digimon there is," Impmon grumbles and then leaped over a wall to wherever the hell he wanted to go. With Naruto. Naruto quickly ran back to the bus and skidded to a halt in front of the bus doors and causing Mr. Kazuma, who was looking around to see if anyone else was still outside, to throw a coughing fit. "I'm here," Naruto said with a few gasps followed by his declaration. Mr. Kazuma stopped coughing and wiped his glasses clean with the cloth he kept in his pocket. "Ah, Naruto, where did you come from?" Naruto thought as Mr. Kazuma asked that question before answering. "Well, Mr. Kazuma, you see my Oka-chan and Ota-san loved each other very much, so they decided to go in bed and—" "Okay, don't need to go there, Naruto," Mr. Kazuma said with a sweat drop. "However, Naruto, do you have your permission slip?" the teacher asked. Naruto nodded and handed the white slip of paper to Mr. Kazuma. He looked it over and stared before sweat dropping. "Is something wrong?" Naruto asked, tilting his head to the side. Mr. Kazuma adjusted his glasses and shook his head. "No, not at all, but out of curiosity, why did your Oka-chan put a smiley face after her signature?" Mr. Kazuma asked. Naruto then gave the response that Doraemon had given him. "She likes smiley faces," he stated. Mr. Kazuma sighed at the answer. Mr. Kazuma had been sighing a lot lately since he started teaching. Purr, Mr. Kazuma. The teacher then stepped aside and took his seat as the blonde Jinchuriki did the same. The bus was quite spacious and Naruto saw his friends, Katsumi and Kiyoshi, sitting in the back of the bus. Naruto quickly went over to the empty space, which was by a window on Katsumi's left, they had saved for him, and smiled his foxy grin. "Hey guys," he greeted. The two nodded and looked at him with confused glances. "So, did you get your permission slip?" Kiyoshi asked. "Yeah dude, you bolted right as we asked you, which obviously meant you forgot it," Katsumi said in a matter-of-fact tone. Naruto nodded. "Well yeah, otherwise I wouldn't be here with my two best friends," Naruto said, draping his arm around Katsumi's shoulder. Katsumi chuckled and slid the arm off of her before the bus let loose a hissing sound as its hydraulics went into action and the bus drove off. Mr. Kazuma then stood up with a microphone in hand. "Okay people, listen up. The bus ride to the Digimon Gaming Factory is about 2 hours long, so until then you are free to do anything you want that will not damage the bus or the other students, because I don't want a repeat of the rock incident from when we returned from the Natural History Museum," Mr. Kazuma announced before sitting down. Naruto looked confused at that statement. What happened on the trip from the Natural History Museum? The blonde Jinchuriki asked. Kyoshi and Katsumi stared at each other before shaking their heads. Nope, can't tell you. It's a secret that the entire class swore we would never speak of again, Kyoshi said. Katsumi nodded in agreement to not tell their blonde friend. A/N. Like Calvin and Hobbes, Bill Watterson, who created the noodle incident for Calvin, I have created this situation and am leaving it up to the reader's imagination to think of what happened during this trip from the museum. So guys, are you psyched or what? Kyoshi asked. What's the or what option? Naruto asked, earning a giggle from the red-haired girl next to him. Kyoshi glared at the blonde before pouting. Fine then, I guess we're not talking on this trip. Oh come on Kyoshi, Naruto was only joking, Katsumi said. Kyoshi chuckled too before continuing with his conversation. Really though, what do you guys think of going to the Digimon gaming factory? I mean, what if they have new cards on sale, or maybe free cards, Kyoshi said with a bit of drool coming from his mouth. Dear Kami-sama, he sounds like the Kazu guy from Takado's class, Naruto thought. You're obsessed, dude, you need help, Kyoshi glared at his blonde friend. Oh yeah, says the one with a giant card case of Digimon cards, Kyoshi said, pointing to the blue and black card case on Naruto's waist. Naruto looked down and smiled sheepishly. I'm not obsessed though, just collect the cards as a hobby, Naruto said in his defense. Wait, you have cards? Katsumi asked. Well yeah, don't you? Naruto asked. The red-haired girl nodded. Yup, but I never saw your cards, Katsumi said. I haven't seen your cards either, Naruto retorted. Wanna look then? Katsumi asked. Naruto shrugged. Sure, why not? The two were about to exchange decks when Kyoshi reached over and grabbed Naruto's cards and opened the card case. Immediately Kyoshi grabbed the deck and surfed through it like a guy who surfs the net at super fast speeds. Naruto quickly grabbed the deck and yanked it out of Kyoshi's hands, and just in time too, for just after the card Kyoshi was looking at were the sovereign cards and the blue card. Naruto glared at Kyoshi. Dude, what the hell? Naruto yelled. Gomen nasai, but I wanted to see them, Kyoshi whined. Naruto glared before he removed the sovereign cards and the blue card, placing the blue card in the back of the pile of 6 cards and placing them in his card case. Katsumi and Kyoshi looked at their friend strangely. Why did you put those cards away? She asked. Yeah man, I wanna see them, Naruto shook his head no. Kyoshi pouted, but brightened up as he saw Naruto hand Katsumi his deck and then leaned in to see Naruto's cards. The two then began discussing the cards in Naruto's decks until they reached one specific card. On the card was a picture of a white humanoid-looking Digimon with one arm looking similar to Ward Raymond's brave shield and head to form the left arm, while the right arm was made to look like Metal Garurumon's with a cannon in its mouth. Behind the Digimon was a picture of the Omega symbol. Beneath the picture of the white Digimon was a phrase that said, "All delete." Dude, no way! Kyoshi exclaimed. Nani? Naruto asked. Naruto, this card is really rare. Only 4 of these have been made to exist. It's called Omni-Force, All Delete, an attack that allows the user's Omnimon monster card to vanquish any and all opponents from the field. Dude, I'll give you anything for this card, Kyoshi said. Katsumi and Naruto looked at each other, and then back at Kyoshi. You are obsessed, they said simultaneously. Kyoshi sighed. Naruto, please, let me play a card game with you. I want to use that card so badly with my Omnimon card, Kyoshi said. Fine, I'll play against you, and just for the fun of it, I will let you use Omni-Force, All Delete, Naruto said with a sigh. But then Naruto looked around as the bus suddenly went silent and everyone stared at him and Kyoshi. Why is everyone staring at us? He whispered to Katsumi. The red-haired girl sighed. Kyoshi is the best Digimon card player in our class, and to have him play you would be like receiving a mountain's worth of gold in their minds, she said. Naruto sighed before looking at Kyoshi with a smirk. Well, I can't turn down a challenge, bring it on, Naruto said. Kyoshi nodded and then sat back down normally. We'll play at the factory, they have a card playing room for the Digimon gamers who want to play in between the tours, Kyoshi said. Naruto nodded and the class cheered. Kyoshi's finally going to battle someone. Awesome, Kyoshi's gonna win for sure. Really, Naruto looks like he has some experience under his belt from the way he just accepted the challenge from the best gamer in our class. These discussions continued for a while until the bus reached the Digimon gaming factory. Mr. Kazuma stepped out first, and then had the students line up single file. The students walked towards the door, and the automatic sensors detected them, and the doors opened. Naruto's eyes widened as he had never seen technology this advanced, especially with what he saw inside. Conveyor belts and electronic arms. High-speed scanner, multiple computer that could have equaled 3 supercomputers in terms of memory alone. Then a tall middle-aged woman who was well endowed walked up as she tapped her sensory pad which controlled what went on in some parts of the factory. She stopped as she reached the students, and then tucked her pad underneath her arm and waved. The woman had gray eyes and blonde hair with streaks of silver showing she was getting old, and wore a purple blouse with a black skirt that reached just above her knees and black high heels. She had a lab coat on with the symbol for Digimon on her lab coat, which were large letters in gold and blue which spelled out Digimon. A/N, think Season 1 title of Digimon's letters. Ohio Minasan, I am Kari Ishida, the assistant manager of the Digimon Gaming Factory, and are you the students from Shinjuku Junior High? Kari said with a smile. The students nodded. Nice to meet you, Kari-san, the students replied. Mr. Kazuma and Kari chuckled at their eager responses. Now then, if you follow me, to begin with the tour we are going to see the area where the Digimon games are made, Kari said. The group walked past a large glass window which showed many computers with many people running back and forth as they calculated data and creating programs to make the Digimon games a reality. As they stopped, everyone went in front of the glass window and peered through in awe. Suga! They exclaimed. These workers are developing programs for the newest Digimon game to come out this summer. We call them Digimon World, Dawn and Digimon World, Dusk. They feature different Digimon, but through wireless connectivity you can trade and interact with friends and their Digimon, Kari said. A new game, cool, one student said. Can I see a trial run of the game? One student said. Kari chuckled. Maybe later, but come on, we have much more to see, Kari said. The students nodded and followed the assistant manager, but as Naruto was walking past the window he looked at one of the computer screen where a series of ones and zeros were rapidly moving across the screen. But when he was looking at that he could have soared, he saw 3 tiny figures moving across the screen. Then he saw 2 of the tiny figures stop, and by pumping chakra into his eyes he used his enhanced vision. He noticed the tiny images on the screen looking at him before chasing after the other figure. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. Naruto, come on! Katsumi yelled to him. The blonde shook his head and looked at his friend and nodded. Coming! And then ran to catch up with the group. But something didn't seem right. The figures that stared at him were familiar looking to him, as the figures were obviously Digimon. But which ones were they? The names were on the tip of his tongue, but he couldn't remember it. But that was when his eyes widened in realization at who those Digimon were. Wargreymon and Metal Garuramon, Naruto whispered. Naruto walked alongside Katsumi as he whispered the Digimon's names, and the red-haired girl looked at the blonde who was slightly taller than her, since he had grown 1 inch over the week, putting him at 5 feet, 5 inches. Huh, did you say something? She asked. Naruto looked up and smiled sheepishly. Ah, no, Katsumi-chan, just wondering about what strategies I should use in my game with Kyoshi, Naruto said. Katsumi nodded and smiled at the Jinchuriki before focusing on the path the group followed. The group then reached the card-making area. The cards are made using a mixture of plastic, paper, and so as to give them that little bit of protection, a sheet of titanium which gives the cards their weight and durability just below the blue and green card game covers, Kari explained. The copies of cards that have recently come out are being made here, except for certain cards. I noticed that many of you have Digimon card cases. Do any of you have these cards? She asked. Kyoshi raised his hand. Everyone turned to look at the brown-haired boy. You have one, young man? Which one? Kari asked. Kyoshi smiled. Well, it's not mine, but Naruto. Kyoshi pointed to his spiky-haired friend. He has the card, Omni-Force. All delete, the card to be used with the Omnimon card. Kari's eyes widened in shock. Really? Well, Naruto, you are really lucky to have found that card. Only 4 of them exist, along with the Ulforce card that we made for Ulforce Veman, and we are making a new brand of cards called DGX, and have come up with a card to act as the opposite to Omnimon, Kari said. What's it called? One student asked. Well, we originally made Omnimon based on the phrase I am the Alpha and the Omega, with Omnimon being the Omega, so we just created the Alpha card, Kari said. However, it's still in the computer's memory banks and is still in its developing stages. We have just finished coming up with the design for the Digimon, Carrie said. The blonde-haired woman typed a few keys on her pad and then she turned the pad around and then tapped a button and a hologram of the image of the Digimon they made for the DGX brand showed up. The Digimon was coated in black armor, which gave it a bulky yet intimidating look with golden lining and golden patterns etched into the armor. It had red eyes and 2 fangs peeking through the helmet it wore, and a long blue cape which was silver on the underside and had many holes in it on the bottom of the cape, seemed to flow from its neck and twisted to make it look like it was blowing in the wind. This is our final decision on the Digimon's outer characteristics, but we still need to make more adjustments to its stats, though, Carrie said as she hit the rotation button on her data pad and the Digimon turned a full 360 degrees. Everyone stared in awe at the armored Digimon. So what is this Digimon's name? One student asked. Call it Armormon. No way, dude, that's a shit name, call it Kikasman. You boys are complete bakas. It should be called Black Knightman. The students continued to call random names to name the Digimon. Carrie and Mr. Kazuma chuckled and then the group continued with the tour, looking at all the computer work and the manufacturing and the packaging of the cards. Well, that's all there is to this factory. Now then, any questions? Carrie asked. Kiyoshi and Naruto raised their hands. Carrie nodded and gestured to them. Yes, Carrie-san, I was wondering, I heard you had a card-playing room for the people who toured the place? Kiyoshi said. Is that true? Carrie nodded. Of course, are you and the young blonde going to play? She asked. Naruto and Kiyoshi nodded. Carrie gained a shine in her eyes as she was told this. Do you mind if I watch? I haven't seen a Digimon card game in a long time. Naruto and Kiyoshi looked at each other and shrugged. Hi, they said. Naruto gave the nice guy pose and his teeth sparkled. Everyone stared in shock at what Naruto just did. How did you make your teeth do that? Katsumi asked. It's called Colgate toothpaste, the blonde replied. The assistant manager of the Digimon factory led the students and their teacher into a room that had a few tables used for playing the card game. The class and the 2 adults gathered around the table in a circle as Naruto and Kiyoshi took their seats and took out their decks. Carrie looked at Naruto and Kiyoshi. I'm sure you both know how to play the game? She asked. Kiyoshi nodded, but Naruto didn't. Actually, I don't, he admitted. Carrie nodded and then went into the lengthy explanation of how to play the card game. Each player draws 5 cards at the beginning of the game. The players then play a 1 round of rock, paper, scissors, and the winner goes first. The player draws 1 card during the beginning of each of their turns, and then the players are only allowed to play 1 monster card on the field, with the baby to rookie level Digimon being the only cards that could be played without the need for digivolving. The Digimon have varying power levels ranging from 5 points to over 100. If the player has the digivolved forms of their rookie monster card in their hand, they can digivolve it to the champion, champion to ultimate, and ultimate to mega. In order to win, the players must battle with their monster cards to fight, and the first player to lose 10 of their monster cards loses. Modification card can be used to power up or defend your monsters. Power-ups used only before the battle phase, and defense cards are only used during the battle phase. I see. So it's basically first one to lose 10 monsters loses. Use modification cards when needed, and the ability to digivolve is only available if the digivolved forms are in your hand. Naruto summarized. Carrie nodded. Precisely, you grasp things quite quickly, Naruto, Carrie said. Naruto grinned. It's one of my most recognizable traits, the Jinchuriki said. Naruto and Kiyoshi nodded to each other, but Naruto scanned through his deck and then withdrew 1 card and handed it to Kiyoshi. He had quickly placed his sovereign cards and the blue card back into his case without anyone noticing, using his quick movements. Is that the card, the Omni Force, all delete? Carrie asked. Naruto and Kiyoshi nodded as Kiyoshi placed the card in a random part of his deck and then shuffled his deck. The 2 players then drew their 5 cards. Naruto and Kiyoshi then performed the rock, paper, scissors, with Naruto winning by using paper as Kiyoshi used rock. Typical of the stupid boys to use rock, all the girls thought. Naruto then drew his 6th card and looked at Kiyoshi. Naruto placed a card down. Okay, I play Armadillomon on the field, Naruto said, and then he played another card. Then I use the Digi-Egg of Knowledge and Armor, digivolve him into Digimon and modify him with Digmon's drills. Naruto ended his turn with his Digimon rising from its original 80 points to 90. Kiyoshi nodded and then played 1 card as he drew. I play Tentomon and digivolve him to Kabuterimon, Kiyoshi said, powering up the champion level Digimon from 70 to 90 points. Kyoshi and Naruto had their monsters battle. Digimon and KitsuneDragon killed each other, and both players now had 9 tried left to defeat each other. It was then Naruto's turn. The blonde Tamer drew a card and then played a card down. I summoned Demon. Your turn, Naruto said, ending his turn. Kyoshi drew a card and smirked. He then played a card down. I played Betamon and then digivolve it to Cedarman. Then I played the modification card, Tidal Rage, and increased Cedarman's power from 80 to 110. Kyoshi said, now I destroy your Vayman. However, he saw Naruto draw a card from his hand and place it down. I used the modification card Holy Barrier and Protect Vayman, Naruto said, and then placed the card into his case since after using it once meant he can't use it again. Kyoshi gritted his teeth and then looked at Naruto with a glare. Naruto drew a card and then ended since he couldn't do anything. Kyoshi smirked and destroyed Vayman, leaving Naruto with only 8 more tries. Naruto didn't respond, but the crowd was watching with a hunger as they were completely absorbed in the match, especially Carrie being around Digimon-themed things her entire adult life. After many summoning, Naruto had lost 3 more monsters to Kyoshi's powerful Cedarman card, leaving him with only 5 tries. However, it was then that the tide began to turn. Naruto drew a card and smirked. I played the modification card, Computer Reboot, and this card allows me to revive a Digimon that has already been destroyed, Naruto said, and then he took out Vayman and placed it on the field from his case. Then he played another card. I then digivolve Vayman to X-Vayman, Naruto said as he played the card for Vayman's champion form. Kyoshi smirked. That thing has only 70 points, you can't beat my 110 point Cedarman, Kyoshi said smugly, but Naruto's smirk never wavered as he played another card. DNA Digivolution activate, he yelled, placing the card hard on the field, shaking the table. Everyone's eyes widened, earning a chorus of O's from the crowd. Excellent strategy, luring his opponent into thinking he was winning before striking back, Carrie thought with a smile at the blonde. Nice. I DNA Digivolve my X-Vayman with the Stingmon card in my hand. Naruto then placed the 2 champion-level cards from his hand and field along with the Vayman and DNA Digivolution card on the field into his card case, which acted as a graveyard. Kyoshi's eyes widened. No way, you have him! Kyoshi yelled and Naruto smiled, baring his sharper-than-normal canines, and nodded. I play Paildraman, Naruto said, playing the card, then I equip it with the modification card Paildraman's Desperado Blasters. The card with the picture of Paildraman's guns was laid down. Naruto smirked as the newly played ultimate card increased in power from 120 to 150 points. Naruto defeated Kyoshi's Cedarman and along with 6 other monsters that Kyoshi attempted to use to defeat Paildraman, but to no avail, and left Kyoshi with only 2 attempts left to try and defeat Naruto. The match was seemingly intense as the match continued to drag on, but then Kyoshi drew a card for his turn. Okay, I got you now, Naruto, the brown-haired boy said as he played down a card. I played the dual battle modification card that allows me to play 2 monsters on the field, and I choose Agumon and Gabumon from my hand, Kyoshi said, laying the 2 monsters down. Naruto looked in confusion as Kyoshi played the much weaker monsters, and then he realized something. Oh no, he thought. Kyoshi then picked a card from his hand and laid it down on the field. I play Warp Digivolution and Warp Digivolve both Agumon and Gabumon to their mega forms, Wargreymon and Metalgaruramon, Kyoshi said. He's going to do it. I haven't seen this combo since I played him, Katsumi said with a smirk as she watched Naruto's shocked face. Kyoshi then played the DNA Digivolution card. I DNA Digivolve, Metalgaruramon and Wargreymon to play Omnimon, Kyoshi said, taking away all the cards on the field before playing one of the 2 cards left in his hand. I summon Omnimon, Kyoshi yelled, and then played the Omega Digimon on the field and attacked Naruto's Paildraman, but Naruto quickly played one of the 5 cards in his hand. Digimodify, Wargreymon's Brave Shield, Naruto said as he suddenly became serious, as if he were fighting an actual Digimon with Doraemon. The Brave Shield nullified Kyoshi's attack and Kyoshi ended his turn. You're lucky, Naruto, Kyoshi said. Naruto nodded and then he drew a card before removing Paildraman from the field. I Digivolve Paildraman into Imperialdraman, Naruto said, playing the dragon-looking Digimon card. Both Imperialdraman and Omnimon had the same power levels, so it was basically at a standoff, and neither player was going to attack because they both knew that Kyoshi held the Omniforce card in his hand. I then used the card, Virus Strike, and take Omnimon over to my side of the field, Naruto said. Kyoshi shook his head. You can't do that, Remember, Omniman's card ability is to destroy all virus-natured cards on the field, Kyoshi informed his opponent. Naruto gritted his teeth and put away the card in his card case. Wow, who would think a card game would be this good, Mr. Kazuma mumbled. I know what you mean, Carrie whispered to the teacher as the 2 adults and 30 other children watched the game. Kyoshi ended his turn as he was saving the Omni-Force card for when Naruto did something, and something is what Naruto did. I change ImperialDragon into ImperialDragon Fighter mode and then modify it with the Positron laser card, powering it up from the original 200 to 270, Naruto said. Omnimon had 200 point also, but now he exceeded that limit, and Kyoshi smirked as he laid down the card. I play Omni-Force. I'll delete and destroy your ImperialDragon Fighter mode, Kyoshi said. Naruto smirked. Kyoshi, you think I would have a card as strong as that without coming up with a counter-attack? Naruto asked. Kyoshi's as well as everyone's eyes widened. You can beat the Omni-Force card? Carrie asked. Naruto nodded. Ever since Kyoshi told me of this card, along the way to this place, I had looked through my deck to create strategies on how to counter this card, and this it. Naruto said and then played the card down. Digimodified data extraction, Naruto said. Everyone's eyes widened. Nanny! They cried out, what card is that? Impossible. I stopped the making of that card because it gave players a great edge in the game if they both had cards like Omnimon and ImperialDragon of the field. Carrie exclaimed. Well, I guess I was lucky enough to get it before your discontinuation stopped, Naruto said, and then told people of the card's effect. The card allows me to extract data from a Digimon and revert it back into its rookie form, so since Omnimon has been a DNA digivolved monster, he reverts back into both Gabumon and Agumon, Naruto explained. Kyoshi stared shocked as he withdrew Agumon and Gabumon from his card case and placed them on the field and removed Omnimon and the Omni-Force card. Now I activate ImperialDragon Fighter Mode's special ability, which allows me to strike twice if equipped with the Positron laser, Naruto said, and then with a deep breath he blew on the cards and they flew by Kyoshi's face. Naruto stood up and packed up his cards before placing them back in his card case. Good game, Kyoshi, you nearly had me there with Omnimon, Naruto said. Kyoshi packed up his cards and handed Naruto his Omni-Force card back. Kyoshi nodded. Arigato, Naruto, you did better though, Kyoshi said as the two shook hands. Carrie smirked. You two played extremely well, Naruto. Your plan to defeat Omnimon was clever. However, before the blonde-haired assistant manager of the Digimon company could continue, she was interrupted as a short, fat man wearing glasses and a lab coat over a gray suit entered. Excuse me, Ishida-sama, there's something wrong with the computers, the man said. Carrie's face turned to anger and shock. Nanny, what the hell do you mean by that? She yelled out. Pardon my language, kids, she said with a sweet voice to them. The man continued. Hi, Ishida-sama. The computers are losing all their data and the data on the new DGX cards and the new Alpha card we were creating. All of the data is suddenly disappearing, the man yelled out. The class followed Carrie to the computer room and saw a large screen flashing red as in the center of the screen, in violet, was a symbol, a single black upside-down triangle, and connected to the vertexes of the triangle. A right-side-up triangle was attached and a circle surrounded the center triangle, which had the other three connected to it. The symbol for the digital hazard. It is some kind of virus that found its way into the network. It's like a worm of some kind, the lab tech said as he typed away at the computer and tried to slow down the virus. But the keyboard was not responding. Great, and now it's shut down all of our equipment. The only way to stop this thing is to shut down the entire system and reboot, the man said. Carrie glared at the man. There is no way I am throwing away over 40 years of work just because of a virus in the system, Carrie said. But Ishida-sama, the virus is apparently absorbing, or deleting the data in our memory banks. This company has over 3 supercomputers with over 200 megabytes of memory. This virus is deleting nearly a quarter of it within the hour, the man exclaimed. Carrie remained silent. Try the wireless equipment. They have no serious connection to the tech due to the infrared connection so that it wouldn't shut down, Carrie instructed. The tech sighed and complied with the order. Naruto then channeled chakra into his eyes and looked into the screen, and his assumptions were correct when he saw the symbol. He saw the tiny figures of Metal Garuramon and Wargreymon chasing after a brown-colored Digimon with blue armor over its head, hands and torso, with extremely long arms which had red claws on its hands, 3 red spikes protruding from its back, and a yellow mane with evil yellow eyes peering through its mask. Then Naruto saw the Wargreymon and Metalgarurumon, which were chasing the unknown Digimon, stop and look straight at him. Naruto looked around the room to see if the Digimon were looking at anyone else, before he pointed at himself and saw the 2 Mega-level Digimon nod. Naruto's eyes widened before turning to Mr. Kazuma. "Mr. Kazuma, I have to use the bathroom," he cried out. The teacher turned to the blonde and nodded. "Sure, Kari-san, please direct Naruto to the bathroom," Mr. Kazuma said. Kari stared at Naruto. "Naruto, gomen nasai. I don't have time to leave this room. The bathroom is straight down the hall and first door on the left as you turn the corner." Naruto nodded and left the room before channeling chakra into his feet immediately after he left before speeding back to entrance of the Digimon factory. His speed caused a trail of dust to be left behind him and many gasps were heard as a blonde-colored blur sped past them. Naruto doubted any of them got a good look at him at the speeds he was moving at. He quickly performed hand signs as he exited the Digimon gaming factory. Time to try out the new Kekai Genkai techniques from Otosen, the Namikaze air thought before ending the hand signs on Rabbit. Jinton, Hyper Heisa no Jutsu / Speed Style, Hyper Speed Jutsu. Naruto yelled, and then his speed increased to far beyond what he was traveling at as he used the secret bloodline of the Namikaze clan, Jinton, Speed Style, and raced back to his apartment to get his faithful Digimon partner. With Doraemon, Naruto's and Doraemon's apartment. Doraemon was lying down on the couch looking at the blank screen of the television with a slice of bread in one hand and a cup of instant ramen in the other. Drool dripped from the dragon Digimon's lips as he was bored out of his mind. "I am bored out of my mind. I wish something exciting would happen right now," Doraemon sighed. A/N. "Well, Doraemon, as your author I grant your wish." Doraemon's eyes bugged out and he dropped the empty ramen cup and his slice of bread as he saw Naruto standing there after having broke down the door. "Naruto, what are you doing here?" the Digimon asked, his tail waving behind him. "You are supposed to be at your field trip." "I know, but there's a problem," Naruto said. Doraemon's eyes brightened. "Oh, a Digimon, awesome, where is it?" "Shinjuku Park, in the Digimon gaming factory." "Where?" the violet and white-furred creature asked. "It's in the digital plane, and to be specific, the inside of the main hard drive of the Digimon gaming factory," Naruto said. Doraemon's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" he asked, but Naruto gave the look that said he wasn't joking. "Now come on, we have to go. Wargreymon and Metalgarurumon are waiting on us," he said. The ex-antibody holder looked at his tamer in confusion. "Huh," he intelligently remarked. Naruto then began to explain. "You see, when the virus attacked the computer system in the Digimon gaming factory, I used my chakra and enhanced my vision to see the pixelated images that I managed to glimpse at with my already superior vision. I then saw 3 figures. One was being chased by the other 2, the one being chased was an unknown Digimon and obviously the virus. But the other 2 I immediately recognized as Wargreymon and Metalgarurumon," Naruto said. "Now they need our help to stop the virus." "Okay, I understand. But how are we getting to the digital world? It's not like a portal is gonna come out of the sky," Doraemon cried out. But as he said this, a large yellow beam of light came down from his ceiling and enveloped the 2. The beam of light was originating from a dark swirl of matter that was edged with dark green digital flakes. "Hey look, a portal that came from the sky," Naruto said, looking at Doraemon. "I should start saying things like this more often," Doraemon said in monotone. The 2 were suddenly forced upwards. "Help us, Tamer, the virus is too strong." "We will take you to our location," 2 voices said. Both sounded deep, but one of them sounded a bit gruffer than the other one. Naruto and Doraemon were flung through the portal and suddenly found themselves in a shining blue tunnel that was quickly becoming just light as they developed tunnel vision from the speeds they were going at. Naruto quickly grabbed Doraemon, and the Digimon latched onto the blonde's back. "Time to speed things up a bit," Naruto said, flashing quickly through hand signs and ended on Dragon. Katan, Kata Bakufu no Jutsu / Fire Style, Fire Explosion Jutsu. A large stream of fire exploded out of Naruto's hands and then sent the duo careening faster through the portal before they were enveloped in a white light. Digital plane computer screen of Digimon Gaming Factory. A black portal formed in the digital plane and Naruto and Doraemon dropped out of it and floated there for a few seconds before something passed over their heads. A large Digimon which was brown and covered with blue armor on its hands, head and torso. It had yellow-colored eyes as a small digital hazard symbol glowed in violet just above a green gem on its chest. Large red claws, 3 on each hand, were shown on its extremely long arms, and 3 red spikes protruded from its back. Then 2 more Digimon passed over them, Wargreymon and Metal Garuramon. "Hey, look, there they are," Naruto pointed out. Wargreymon and Metal Garuramon flew towards the blue-armored Digimon as they fired their attacks. Many flaps on Metal Garuramon's body opened up to reveal many guns, while Wargreymon held his hands together, and an orange ball of fire began to form. Ice Wolf Claw. Terra Force. Many missiles flew from Metal Garuramon's cannons, while a gigantic ball of orange flame flew at the unknown Digimon. Naruto took out his Democrat Arkansas and scanned the Digimon. "Okay, well, we know Wargreymon, a Mega level whose attacks are Terra Force, Dragon Killer, and Great Tornado, while Metal Garuramon is another Mega level Digimon whose attacks are Giga Missile, Ice Wolf Claw, and Metal Wolf Claw," Naruto read as the 2 images came up. Then the image of the unknown Digimon came up and Naruto read it out loud. "Diaboromon, a Mega level, what the hell? He is a pure virus-type Digimon whose goal in life is to absorb every scrap of data in the world, and his attacks are Cable Crusher and Web Wrecker," Naruto read. Then a large boom erupted, and it was then that Naruto noticed that he and Doraemon were in a large dome, made entirely of ones and zeros. Wargreymon and Metal Garuramon looked at the large smoke cloud and saw Diaboromon was burned from the top half of his body, while the bottom half was encased in ice, and he was trying to break free. Wargreymon and Metal Garuramon then turned and flew towards Naruto. "Ah, chosen Tamer and his partner, you are here," Wargreymon said. Yes, I am," he replied. "Well, we better get you up to speed. My ice won't hold him for long," the wolf Digimon said as the ice that encased Diaboromon began to crack a bit. "Okay, what's going on?" "Well, Diaboromon is trying to absorb all the data in the world, but he managed to absorb too much data, so we needed some help, so we found you as we were chasing him into this network," Wargreymon explained. "Now we need your help. Diaboromon's speed is great, and although Wargreymon and I are Mega-level Digimon and are 2 of the most powerful, we cannot land a killing blow on him," Metal Garuramon added. "Will you help us?" they both asked. Naruto and Doraemon looked at each other, and a determined look filled their eyes, and they turned to the Mega-level Digimon and nodded. "Hi." "Good, because he just broke out," Wargreymon said. The group turned to see Diaboromon give a deafening roar, and then with all his strength, broke the ice and then rocketed towards Metal Garuramon and Wargreymon. But as they were getting ready, Naruto and Doraemon jumped in front, and Doraemon opened his mouth. "Metal shoot!" Multiple iron balls flew from Doraemon's maw and struck the Mega-level Digimon, but it didn't even flinch. Wargreymon quickly shielded the 2 with his brave shield, and sparks flew from the chrome Digizid shield as Diaboromon's claws raked down the shield. Wargreymon quickly redirected Diaboromon's attack and then spun and kicked the virus Ipe in his face before spinning quickly, looking like an orange drill. "Great Tornado!" The mega form of Agumon yelled before drilling forwards, but Diaboromon avoided the attack before turning to Naruto. As he looked at Naruto, the violet-colored digital hazard sign on its chest glowed. The originally yellow eyes of the Mega-level virus type began to be filled with the sky blue color before mixing to form an aqua-green color. "The Master says to destroy the boy and his Digimon. Naruto, Uzumaki, Namikaze, and Doraemon, prepare yourselves." Diaboromon roared before stretching its arms out. "Cable Crusher!" The long red claws reached for Naruto and Doraemon, but the 2 quickly dodged the attack before Metal Garuramon fired a missile from a compartment on his chest. "Giga Missile!" A large missile flew from the compartment, sending Metal Garuramon skidding backwards from the recoil. The attack was dodged before the Mega Virus Digimon performed Cable Crusher again. However, Wargreymon quickly slashed down with his Dragon Killers. "Dragon Destroyer!" And then his claws came down, but the arms quickly wrapped themselves around Wargreymon, halting his movement before throwing him into Metal Garuramon. The arms continued to stretch their way towards Naruto and Doraemon. Naruto growled and his eyes turned crimson, his pupils slitted. Doraemon's eyes suddenly gained a more fiery color as crimson mixed with orange, and suddenly they both became stronger. Kyuubi's chakra flooded Naruto's chakra system, and due to their bond, Doraemon also gained a power boost. The 2 dodged the attack and then began to run up Diaboromon's arm, using it as a pathway along to his body. Naruto quickly took out his Democrat Arkansas and a card. Digimodify, Geogremon's Mega Flame! A large ball of red fire materialized in Doraemon's claws as Naruto flashed through hand signs. Katon, Karawinden no Jutsu / Fire Style, Fire Dragon Blast Jutsu. A large fire dragon rocketed out of Naruto's mouth as Doraemon threw the mega flame. The two fires mixed to form a gigantic dragon of red fire. Collaboration Jutsu. Saikyo no Karawinden no Jutsu / Omega Fire Dragon Blast Jutsu. The two yelled as the attack impacted with their opponent's face. Diaboromon roared as the attack struck. That actually hurt, but I will not yield, Diaboromon thought. I shall kill you in the name of my master. Naruto and Doraemon growled before Doraemon jumped into the air and opened his jaws. Metal Shoot. A much more powerful Metal Shoot attack formed as the metal spheres were red hot from the Kyuubi's chakra, increasing his power, and then it struck Diaboromon's face, sending up an explosion and causing the Mega Digimon pain. Naruto then jumped and formed a small ball of light blue spinning chakra with a core of violet. Rasengan! He yelled and slammed the attack forwards into its chest, and the virus Digimon was sent flying. Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon flew past the Tamer and Digimon before attacking Diaboromon. Metal Garurumon quickly slammed his body into Diaboromon, sending the creature upwards before Wargreymon brought down his Dragon Killers. Dragon Destroyer! The chrome Digized-clad Digimon yelled before chopping the Digimon in half. Wargreymon flew back to gain some distance and smirked beneath his helmet. But his happiness was short-lived as Diaboromon's halves regenerated and formed two Diaboromon. You, one Diaboromon said. Cannot defeat us, the second one spoke. The master will not accept defeat, the spoke simultaneously for this. Naruto growled as he remembered Raiderman's words about this master. Flashback. What the hell was all that talk about this master you were fighting for? Naruto asked. Raidermon looked at Naruto as his eyes began to change from violet back to red. Raidermon suddenly began to forget as the evil power he was given left him, the master, the name. It was in my head the entire time we were fighting young Tamer. His name was Luke, but it was too late, for Raidermon had dispersed into red flakes of data. Naruto looked in shock at what he just heard. End flashback. Naruto glared at Diaboromon, and then the Kyuubi's Yukai formed a shroud of Yukai around him in the shape of a tail's kitsune and looked like it was red fire surrounding him. Doraemon's eyes took on a more reddish-orange color, and the white parts of his fur which were on his snout, hands, feet, and tip of his tail gained red highlights. Their powers rising at an alarming rate. Well, listen here, Doraemon and we will not lose, Naruto said, and tell your master. The two took off towards the Diaboromon, that we will defeat him. Naruto and Doraemon then slammed full force against the two virus Digimon. Naruto then formed two Rasengans in his hands and slammed them into the Diaboromon. Double Rasengan! He yelled and then sent the two flying away as the Rasengans shredded the clones through their chests, but they regenerated once more, becoming 4. 4 then became 8, 8 became 16 until they kept multiplying until the lining of the dome was surrounded with Diaboromon. All of them laughing. The master wants you both dead, Naruto, Doraemon, and we shall fulfill his commandments. The Digimon yelled, and then they charged up the gems in their chests, which began to glow a shining gold. Then the fired. Web Wrecker! The Diaboromon all yelled simultaneously before firing. A storm of gold fired from all angles, but Wargreymon, Metal Garurumon, Naruto and Doraemon began dodging them all with ease. Well, not really ease, but they were doing pretty well. Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon saw that Naruto and Doraemon were getting tired after a few minutes of dodging an endless amount of the Web Wrecker attacks. We must protect the boy, Metal Garurumon said. He and his partner cannot die on our faults, Wargreymon said. The two Mega-level Digimon quickly flew towards the tiring Tamer and his partner. Doraemon dodged a few, but one was about to strike him, so Naruto dodged a few of his own before grabbing Doraemon and yanking him out of his way. Then Naruto spun, creating a crimson twister that deflected the golden spheres of destruction and taking out many Diaboromon in the process. Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon finally reached the duo and then began to fire their attacks in order to protect them, but to no avail as the attacks kept coming from the virus Digimon. So the two Mega levels did the only thing they could do. They huddled around Naruto and Doraemon and took the attacks as they slammed into them. A large amount of explosions sounded, and the firing stopped. The swarm of Diaboromon watched with glee as they saw the two Mega-level Digimon floating lifelessly in the digital space. Naruto and Doraemon opened their eyes, having shut them during the explosions. Luckily, the Kyuubi's chakra was able to protect Naruto and Doraemon from the brunt of the explosion. The two then gasped as they saw Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon. They looked like broken toys, cracked, some parts of their bodies were missing and their eye sockets were empty, just endless black in them. Wargreymon? Naruto asked, shaking the Dramon Digimon. Metal Garurumon? Doraemon said, shaking the metallic wolf. They both got no response, and then the two turned to face the Diaboromon swarm. We will not let you win! They yelled. Naruto drew a card and nodded to Doraemon, who grabbed the two Digimon in his claws. Digimodify, computer reboot activate! Naruto yelled, swiping the card. A white light surrounded Doraemon's arms, and then he touched the two down megas and they were both shrouded in the same light. When the light died down, Metal Garurumon and Wargreymon were revived. Their eyes were filled with life as Wargreymon's green eyes and Metal Garumon's red ones were opened. Their injuries were healed and they were filled with new strength. Digimodify, DNA Digivolution and Energy Transfer activate! Naruto swiped the two cards through his Democrat Arkansas, and then Doraemon was filled with the light of Digivolution, but the energy was then transferred to Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon. The two mega-level Digimon seemed to smile. You have revived us, and for that we thank you, Naruto and Doraemon. Now we must return the favor, they said. Wargreymon's body was surrounded in an orange light, while Metal Garurumon's was surrounded in a dark blue light. DNA Digivolution. Metal Garurumon. Wargreymon. The two mega-level Digimon swirled around each other in a twister of blue and orange as they went through a ring of red data, and their DNA fused into one being. DNA Digivolve 2. Wargreymon's body grew in size before it glowed orange, and the body of Wargreymon was absorbed into his skull, which took on an orange color. A black arm extended from the base of the skull, with the brave shield from Wargreymon's back being the shoulder of the arm. Metal Garurumon's body glowed blue, and the body of Metal Garurumon was absorbed into his skull, which remained the same, but in its mouth was a large cannon. A black arm extended from the base of the skull with a blue circle with yellow spikes that looked like the same material Metal Garurumon's body was made from, made the shoulder. The light from their fusion suddenly attached itself to the arms and became the body of he newly formed Digimon. His body was adorned with white armor, 3 purple stripes were on each pectoral. On his waist were 2 golden spikes that curved upwards like devil horns, and on his feet were 3 golden claws, each. His eyes were a bright blue, and 2 fawn-like markings were on the mouth part of his face. On the Digimon's chest was a fusion of the crests of courage and friendship in gold. Then the new Digimon wore a developed white cape with a red underside that flowed down from his shoulders and makeshift wind from his Digivolution. The Metal Garurumon mouth on the right arm opened to reveal the hidden cannon, while he flicked his left hand, which looked like Wargreymon's head, and a long sword blade flew out. Along the length of the blade, in golden digicode, the words all delete. The warrior spoke his name. Omniman. Naruto and Doraemon flew over to the Mega-level Royal Knight Digimon as Naruto took out his Democrat Arkansas, which automatically scanned Omnimon. Omnimon, a holy knight and warrior Digimon who is built for any situation due to his fusion between Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon. On his right arm is the Supreme Cannon, on his left is the legendary Grey Sword along with the Brave Shield. His attacks are Supreme Cannon, Transcended Sword, Double Shot and Omni Force. All delete, Naruto read in excitement. The two then sat themselves on Omnimon's shoulders. The Diaboromon roared at Omnimon before the gems on their chests glowed. Web Wrecker! They yelled. The storm of golden sphere of energy sped towards Omni from all directions, but Omni seemed to chuckle before spinning, forcing the blonde Jinchuriki and the X-antibody holder to have to grip on tightly to Omnimon. Transcendent Sword! Omnimon roared, and then large blue crescents of energy flew from the Grey Sword and stopped all the attacks before he stopped spinning. Naruto and Doraemon had swirls in their eyes, meaning that they were dizzy. Slow down on the spinning, will you, Omnimon? Naruto said, shaking his head. Gomen Nasai, young Tamer the Royal Knight said before getting serious. His Garurumon cannon aimed as it charged an icy blue beam. Supreme Cannon! A blast of blue energy shot forth, and destroyed a large portion of the swarm. Omnimon kept firing his Supremum Cannon before the sword retracted back into the Wargreymon head before opening to reveal a hidden cannon in there also. Double Shot! Omnimon fired a blast of ice and a blast of flame from the Garurumon and Greymon heads respectively, causing large explosions. The White Knight then decided to end things before firing rapidly with his double shot attack. Explosions filled the digital area, and then Omnimon saw that there was still a lot of the Diaboromon clones, so he released the gray sword, and then the sword was surrounded by a dark aura which was laced in emerald green. "Time to finish you off," Omnimon said, and then slashed in a circle before stabbing his sword up into the air. "Omni-Force, all delete!" And then a large pulse of black and green energy raced from the tip of the gray sword as it deleted all the Diaboromon. The original looked in shock as the attack reached for him, but using his speed he ran away from the attack, but it was like a heat-seeking missile. After all his clones were destroyed, the attack formed a beam of black and green that raced after him. Diaboromon then jumped from the wall and headed straight for Omnimon with a smirk, aiming for the blonde shinobi on his shoulder. The digital hazard sign began to glow on his chest, however Omnimon stopped the virus Digimon by impaling him through the stomach with his sword. Naruto then walked along the length of the gray sword, the all-delete closing in fast as Naruto stared into Diaboromon's aqua-colored eyes. A blue color then receded from his iris before Naruto's own blue eyes, similar to the way Sasuke's curse mark formed and receded. Then he looked into the yellow eyes of Diaboromon. "Who is the master?" he asked. Diaboromon chuckled as the digital hazard symbol on his chest began to fade. "You will never find him, or maybe you will. He needs you to regain his former strength. The master will be reborn. The fallen angel Digimon is the demon that will destroy all who opposes him and will rule the digital world. Revenge is coming." Diaboromon was then struck with the all-delete, and then veins shed into nothing, not even red flakes of data. The attack completely wiped his data. Naruto and Doraemon then dropped down from Omnimon's body and floated in front of him. "It has been an honor fighting alongside the Royal Knight Naruto," and Doraemon said with a bow of respect. Omnimon chuckled, and then the digicode on the gray sword glowed. "I could say the same. It has been an honor fighting alongside such a powerful Tamer," and his Digimon Omni spoke in the merged voices of Wargreymon and Metalgarurumon. Omni held out the gray sword and drew a circle in the digital air before a portal formed, a glowing yellow portal with flakes of red, white and yellow data squares surrounding it. "This portal will take you home, and arigato for saving my life," Naruto and Doraemon Omnimon said with a bow, and then the blonde Tamer and his Digimon left through the portal. Digimon Gaming Factory Control Room. Everyone watched in awe as the blinking digital hazard sign on the screen disappeared. The lab tech typed a few keys and smiled as he watched all the stolen data being restored. "Ishida-sama, the data is returning to the memory banks," the lab tech said. Carrie cheered along with the class. Naruto ran back into the room. He had been returned to his apartment, and left Doraemon there, as he used his Jintan jutsus to reach back to the Digimon Gaming Factory. "So what did I miss?" the whisker-marked blonde asked. Kiyoshi and Katsumi turned to see Naruto standing there. "Oh, Naruto, the virus is gone, and the company got back its stolen memory. Also, you should have seen it, the screen was filled with moving blue pixels. But then they began to start getting wiped out like a shooting game where somebody was just shooting a gun at the pixels, and then a black and green circle came from the center of the screen from behind the symbol, and then wiped out all the virus pixels. The lab tech said the pixels were the embodiments of the virus, and the explosions and black and green thing we saw was actually some sort of antivirus program. But they couldn't trace it back to the server," Kiyoshi explained. "Then I guess I missed a lot," Naruto said. "They have no idea how right they were about the gun thing," he thought. Naruto then enhanced his vision with his chakra and looked as the digital hazard symbol vanished, and then he saw Omnimon standing there making a very cool pose before looking at Naruto and winking. Naruto smirked. "You're welcome, Omnimon," he thought. "Okay class, the tour is over. Time to go home," Mr. Kazuma said. The class groaned before turning to leave, but Carrie stopped them. "Now hold on, students," the assistant manager of the Digimon Gaming Factory piped up. The class turned to face her with a look that said, "You are our salvation in them." Carrie chuckled. "Well, you don't think you can leave without taking these free packs of Digimon cards with you," the blonde/gray-haired woman said with a smile as she withdrew a box with 32 packs of Digimon cards. "There's one pack for each student, so line up," the class sis as they were told, and open their card packs as soon as they got them. Everyone was excited as they opened them. Some screamed in happiness at getting a card they didn't have, while some groaned at the knowledge of already having cards they already had. Naruto, Kiyoshi and Katsumi opened their packs and looked at each other's. "What did you guys get?" Katsumi asked. Naruto and Kiyoshi looked through their hands, which had 12 cards. "I got a Hyper Wing, 2 Power, a Holy Shield and a Speed Modification cards, while for monsters, I got Vemon, Agumon, Ankylomon, Angemon, Devimon, Lady Devimon and Marine Angemon, Kyoshi said. Katsumi looked at hers. I got the Warp Digivolution card, 2 Agumon, a Wargreymon, Metal Garuramon, and a Black Tyrannomon, and for modifications I got Wargreymon's Brave Shield, Garuramon's Howling Blaster, and 3 speed cards, the female member of the trio replied. They then looked at Naruto, who was busy looking at his cards. What did you get, Naruto? Katsumi asked. I got a Black Wargreymon, Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode, Imperial Dramon Paladin Mode, Armadillomon, Flame Dramon, oh I don't have that one, and Ogremon for monsters, and for modifications I got the Omni Sword for Imperial Dramon Paladin Mode, Wargreymon's Terra Force, Metal Garuramon's Metal Wolf Claw, Celestial Arrow for the Angewoman, which I already have, and the DG Egg of Courage, Naruto said. Kyoshi and Katsumi had their jaws hanging in shock. However, it was because of this that they didn't notice Naruto had called out only 11 cards, and Naruto was too confused at their shell-shocked looks to know that he only called out 11. Dude, you're really lucky? I mean, those were some good cards. Especially the Flame Dramon, Imperial Dramon Paladin Mode, the Omni Sword and the DG Egg of Courage, Kyoshi commented. Want a trade? Katsumi asked. Naruto chuckled and shook his head as he placed the cards in his card case. Everybody threw out their card packs in the trash, and when Naruto was about to, he noticed the shining in the pack. A holofoil card. Naruto looked in and pulled out the card, and he stared at it with curiosity. On it was a picture of an angelic-looking Digimon, which was placed on a shadowy background. The angel itself was what made it holofoil. The card was called Fallen Angel, which was because the angel was in a sea of shadows, so it was contradictory. This card has the picture of that Digimon, like the one in my dream, he thought. However, as he stared at it, he blinked in surprise, as he could have sworn he heard a giggle, and the card winked at him. Naruto, come on! Mr. Kazuma called out to his student. Naruto nodded and threw away the pack and placed the card in his pocket. He then ran outside and went on the bus and sat with his friends, but while everyone else was making noise, Naruto was remembering the words of Diaboromon back in the digital world. You will never find him, or maybe you will. He needs you to regain his former strength. The Master will be reborn. The fallen angel Digimon is the demon that will destroy all who opposes him and will rule the digital world. Revenge is coming, the words echoed in his mind, and then he looked back at the fallen angel card in his card case. Was there a connection? Was what he thought as he stared out of the window of the bus. He then took out the card and stared at it again. The Master. Naruto realized, the picture of a young blonde-haired youth with 8 wings on his back, 2 on his head. Sky blue eyes, golden bands on the wrists and ankles, and dressed in a white robe, strange purple markings on the chest area. The only thing that was missing to complete the picture from his dream was the digital hazard sign on the angel's picture's right hand. The Master. Could this be the Master? The card shone in the sunlight. Naruto had no idea how right he was. Chapter 7. The Unofficial First Date. A few weeks after the field trip to the Digimon Gaming Factory, life was pretty normal. Naruto was sitting at his desk on the beautiful Friday afternoon. 1 month had passed since he had become Doraemon's partner, and the two were doing pretty well. After school, Naruto and Doraemon still helped Takato, Henry and their partners fight better, as Henry realized that there are some battles that you cannot avoid from when he saw Gargamon beat that Musaemon. They had improved greatly, with Gilman being able to actually perform a rapid-fire pyrosphere and use less energy when using a single one, as well as being able to coat other parts of his body in fire like when he used Rock Breaker. Terriermon was able to perform the Terrier Tornado at a much faster rate and make it larger. He was also able to form it around individual parts of his body so as to add a little spin to his melee attacks. Things have really changed these past weeks, the blonde Tamer thought. He then glanced out the window, as he always did, as Mr. Kazuma gave a lecture on the history of Japan. Mr. Kazuma paused in his lecture and turned to Naruto, and saw the boy gazing out the window. The teacher glared before picking up his chalkboard duster and looked at Naruto. The other students then thought the same thing. He wouldn't. Their thoughts were crushed as Mr. Kazuma threw the piece of stationery. He did. Naruto continued to gaze out the window as the duster neared his head, but then he did something unexpected. His eyes were suddenly filled with a cold look, one that could cause you to freeze up from fear alone. Naruto turned his head, stood up, and caught the duster. Then, in one fluid motion and with accuracy that Robin Hood could be proud of, even thought said archer is fictional, Naruto threw the black duster and threw it at Mr. Kazuma. The duster collided with the teacher's skull and caused Mr. Kazuma to lose his footing and fall to the floor. Naruto stared with the cold look before it left, and his eyes returned to their normal sapphire gaze of indifference, and then confusion as he saw the entire student population of the classroom stare at him with shock. Naruto tilted his head in confusion. "What?" he asked. The class sweat dropped at that. "Naruto, do you know what you just did?" Katsumi asked. Naruto shrugged. "I felt something coming at me, I caught it and threw it." "I don't see the big deal," the blonde replied. "Naruto, you caught a duster that Mr. Kazuma threw at you when you weren't even looking and then chucked it back at him and clocked him in the head," Kyoshi explained. Naruto blinked before smirking. "Cool, I was getting bored with that lecture," the blonde Jinchuriki said. The class sweat dropped again and then looked at Mr. Kazuma as he climbed to his feet. The bell then rang as school ended. Class dismissed, the young teacher groaned before falling back to the ground from pain. The students cheered before rushing out the door. Naruto immediately took off, not even taking time to say goodbye to Katsumi or Kyoshi. The blonde Tamer rushed home and the door to his apartment. Doraemon was watching television. With Calumet? Naruto glanced at the Digimon pair in confusion. Doraemon?" the blonde asked. The purple-furred dragon looked up from the electronic device along with Calumet. "Oh hey," Doraemon said. Calumet's ears expanded before jumping and gliding over to Naruto and hugging his face. The white little Digimon rubbed his face against Naruto's nose. "What are you doing?" he asked. The light of Digivolution smiled. "Eskimo kisses," he exclaimed happily, "and now that Naruto's home we can go play." Naruto looked at his partner. "Doraemon, why is Calumet here? On the other hand, how did he get here?" Naruto asked. Doraemon turned off the television and then went into the kitchen before taking out some bread slices to eat. "Oh, I was in the park, still putting up the Digimon obsessed child routine like you told me to, and then I found the little guy just sitting there all by his lonesome and then..." Naruto raised his eyebrow. "Then?" Doraemon sighed. "He asked me to come over. I said no at first, then he asked again. I said no again, and then the little gaki kept asking me before he pulled out the look," Doraemon said. "The look?" Naruto asked. Doraemon nodded. "The look that could melt the hearts of even a Devimon, the puppy dog eyes. I knew I shouldn't have taught him it," Doraemon said, falling to his knees. "That look could defeat anything," Naruto chuckled. "Please, I could withstand it," Naruto said. Doraemon looked in surprise before glaring. "Yeah right, Calumet, do it," Doraemon said. Calumet looked at his friends in confusion. "Do what, Doraemon?" he asked, his ears flapping in the wind that blew from the nearby window. "Do the puppy dog eyes on Naruto," the purple dragon said. Calumet smiled and nodded before jumping over to Naruto. Then Calumet looked up Naruto with his humongous green eyes that seemed to somehow get larger. His lower lip expanded and protruded from his mouth and began to quiver, and then his ears shrank down. Naruto looked down with an impassive look on his face. A few minutes later, Calumet refused to give up, and suddenly the cuteness intensified and Naruto's left eye began to twitch. He can't keep it up much longer, Doraemon thought. Naruto's eyes then began to twitch rapidly as he continued to stare down at Calumet. Then Calumet spoke with the most pure, innocent voice. "Will you be my queen, Naruto?" Calumet asked. Naruto couldn't take it anymore and then fell to his knees. "No, stop it please, I'll be your friend, just don't do that again," Naruto yelled, clutching his hair. Calumet smirked and then jumped on Naruto's head. "Hooray, now let's go get some cream puffs. I love cream puffs," the little cream puff of a Digimon said. Naruto sighed and then glared at Doraemon, who was smiling broadly as he bit down a piece of bread. "Not a word, Doraemon," Naruto growled. The dragon rookie Digimon still kept up his smile, and the three headed for Matsuki's bakery. Streets of Shinjuku. Naruto and Doraemon walked down the street to Takato's house/bakery, as Calumet rode atop the blonde's head of golden locks. Cream puffs, I love cream puffs, hooray!" Calumet yelled. "Calumet, could you pipe down? People are starting to stare," Naruto said to the little Digimon on his head. Calumet's ears shrank down and nodded, and the rest of the trip was quiet as they reached Matsuki's bakery. "Oh hail, Mrs. Matsuki," Naruto said as he waved to the young woman. Takato's mother smiled at the blonde. "Why hello there, Naruto. What can I do for you?" she asked. I would like a few cream puffs, please, he said. The brown-haired woman nodded before packing the pastries into the brown paper bag and then ringing up the price. That would be 25 yen, she declared. Naruto nodded and pulled out the money and took the bag. Arigato, Mrs. Matsuki, he said, and then left the store with Doraemon, who still munching on some slices of bread from the apartment. Calumet dove down from Naruto's head and plopped into the bag of cream puffs. Apparently Calumet's small stature came in handy during this predicament, as the bag was spacious enough for him to sit in it as he stuffed an entire cream puff in his surprisingly large mouth. Calumet clutched his face and smiled. Yummy, the white Digimon said before diving in for more cream puffs. The trio walked for a while before Naruto turned the corner where he saw a familiar figure. Naruto tilted his head as he saw the same fiery red hair of Rika. The trio continued to follow the red-haired individual for a while, with Naruto glancing down at the rather short gray skirt. He then began admiring the girl's ass and raised his eyebrow. Not bad, he thought, better than other girls her age, probably gets it from her mother. Naruto then looked down at his Digimon, and then pointed at who he thought was Rika. Is that, he asked? Doraemon looked at the gray school uniform that seemed to clash with the girl's fiery hair. I think it is. Rika? The two said. The red-haired girl turned at the mentioning of her name, and then her eyes widened as she saw the whiskered blonde standing behind her as he held her book bag. Whiskers? She exclaimed, what the hell are you doing here? Naruto held up the bag of cream puffs for Calumet. Getting some cream puffs, that Calumet is currently eating. What are you doing? The blonde Tamer asked, and then looked at Rika, and in a skirt no less? He said with a chuckle. Rika blushed slightly at the remark, but forced it down. Oh, shut up, Whiskers. I'm just going home for your information, she said with that tone that all females have when they get the urge to argue. A/N. All males who read this will know what I mean. Naruto sighed and then he walked towards Rika and smirked. So mind if we join you for your walk, Naruto said. Rika sighed in annoyance. Damn you and your shining white teeth, she thought. Fine, but no funny business, she warned him. The blonde gave a mock salute. As you wish, your majesty, he said with a wink. The three then continued to walk, while Calumet stayed within the confines of his bag and munched on the third cream puff. So why do you walk with Doraemon? Aren't you afraid that somebody might try and take him? She asked. Naruto shrugged. People just think he is a kid in a Digimon costume, so no one really bothers, he explained. Rika nodded as she glanced around, seeing the movement of Renamon among the buildings. So where's Renamon, observing you from afar? Doraemon asked. Rika nodded and didn't say anything else. Calumet then popped out of the bag with the last cream puff in his mouth. Oh hi, Rika, Calumet greeted with a smile as he waved his fingerless hand. Rika looked at the white little Digimon and couldn't help but smirk. Hey, Calumet, she said. Naruto then decided to hang back so he could tie his shoelace. Rika continued walking as she knew he would catch up. Of course, she never knew that his shoes had no shoelaces since they were Velcro strapped. Naruto then followed while looking up and down Rika's figure. Judging from the diameter of her chest, she was probably bordering between a B cup and a C cup before he settled on her ass. He nearly tripped a few times before steadying himself since he wasn't watching where he was going. However, his show ended as they finally reached Rika's house. Well, see you around then, Whiskers, Rika said as she entered her house. Naruto and Doraemon nodded before leaving the premises. Calumet jumped out of his cream puff bag since they were all gone, and then settled himself back on Naruto's head. Naruto, why is Rika leaving? Doesn't she like us? The little rabbit-looking cream puff asked. Naruto smiled and glanced up at Calumet. Of course she does, she just has a weird way of showing her feelings to other people, Calumet, Naruto explained. Calumet nodded and then the three headed back to Naruto's apartment. Naruto's apartment. Naruto was looking through his modification cards before taking out the fallen angel card. Who are you? He asked the card's picture of the young blonde angel. The card of course gave no response, and then Doraemon entered the room. Naruto looked up from the card and put it away. Where's Calumet? He asked. The dragon Digimon shrugged. You know the Gaki, stealth and somewhat in his character, he gets up and leaves without anyone knowing. Probably went to look for some fun, Doraemon said. Naruto nodded before glancing back at the card case. Something seems to be bothering you, Doraemon said. Naruto remained silent and his partner sighed. Naruto, we're partners. You can trust me. Naruto still remained silent and the dragon Digimon sighed. Alright, but if you want to talk. Doraemon then turned and left the sentence hanging as he went back to watch the TV. Naruto continued to stare at the ceiling. He stared for about 2 hours as he thought about the master and why he was involved in it. He hated not telling Doraemon about the master, he hated keeping his only best friend in the dark, but Doraemon was not a part of this, it involved him and him alone. You are right, Naruto. This is about you, a voice spoke in his head. Naruto growled. So you're the master, Naruto growled. The voice chuckled. Well, I wouldn't call myself a master, but more of a supreme overlord. Haha, you will help me, Naruto. Whether you like it or not, and then when I am free I will end your friends, especially Doraemon who you care oh so much about, the voice said, and if it had a face, Naruto knew the voice was smiling. Naruto's eyes flashed red and he growled at the air. Do that, and if I ever find you, I will tear you apart. Naruto roared. The voice chuckled again. Well then, little Naruto, you know what I am, you know my appearance, but you don't know my name. Unless you possess that information you won't know how to defeat me, and I promise you if you attempt to kill me, let's just say you're going to have the fight of your life. Until then, ta, the voice then left Naruto's mind. Naruto tossed and turned on his lower bunk. I don't want to risk Doraemon's life just because of this guy. If I ever find this Digimon, this master, I will not let Doraemon perish because of me, Naruto thought, and then got off the bed and then grabbed his card case and his Democrat Arkansas. He walked out of the bedroom and then headed towards Doraemon. Which is why we will get stronger. Hey Doraemon, wanna go for a little patrol around the town? Naruto asked. Doraemon switched off the television and jumped off the couch. He then walked up to his tamer and smirked. Now that is a stupid question because you already know I would say yes, Doraemon said. Naruto smirked and patted Doraemon on the head. Then let's go, Naruto said. Naruto went to the window of his apartment, and Doraemon stood next to him. Naruto opened it and then stepped onto the windowsill. Doraemon jumped onto his back and rode piggyback. Ikuzo, Naruto and Doraemon said simultaneously. Naruto then channeled chakra into his feet and then took to the roof of another building. He then set Doraemon down as they both started roof hopping. After jumping around the roofs for a few minutes, they stopped as Naruto's Democrat Arkansas began to beep. The hologram of a compass formed and then pointed in the direction of a digital signal. Naruto and Doraemon then followed the direction of the compass before the two dropped down on the ground and went towards the area where the Digimon was on foot. Shinjuku Park. Naruto and Doraemon walked into Shinjuku Park and looked around. Since it was night, there was no one around to see them if any Digimon were to appear. So where is the Digimon? Doraemon asked. Naruto looked at his Democrat Arkansas. Well, the Democrat Arkansas says we are near it. But the Democrat Arkansas began to beep again. There is another Digimon present somewhere in the vicinity. The two glanced around the area, but the ground then began to rumble beneath them. The two quickly jumped out of the way in separate directions, Naruto to the left and Doraemon to the right. A large mole-looking beast with purple fur covering its back, head and tail, while the entire parts of its lower body were a tanned color. 3 drill-like claws were on each of its 4 paws, and in replace of a nose, a large steel drill was found spiraling as it rose out of the ground. Naruto took out his Democrat Arkansas and scanned the Digimon, and then a holographic image of the Digimon appeared along with some information. Drymojimon, a champion-level Digimon. His ability to dig is enhanced by the drill-like claws on his paws and the large one on his nose that acts as a horn. His attacks are Iron Drill, Spin, and Mole's Claw. Naruto read before pocketing his Democrat Arkansas. Well, Doraemon, looks like we get to do some training as well, Naruto said with a smirk. Hell yeah! The Dragon Digimon said with excitement. However, as the two were about to attack, they stopped upon seeing that the Drymojimon was not even looking at them. It was looking around the part, sniffing air for something, or someone. What do you think he's looking for? Doraemon asked. Naruto shrugged. I don't have a hell of a clue, Naruto replied. Naruto then walked up, cautiously to the Drymojimon, but still kept a distance. Excuse me? Naruto called out. The large mole Digimon glared down at Naruto upon hearing him. What the fuck do you want, Gaki? Can't you see I'm busy looking for that little stupid piece of shit of a Digimon? Drymojimon growled. Naruto stepped back a bit. Whoa there. We just want to know what's going on, Naruto explained. The Daimojiman raised a non-existent eyebrow. We? Doraemon appeared next to Naruto as he ran up to his tamer. That would be me and him, the smaller Digimon said. So I'm guessing you guys are tamer and partner, Daimojiman said. The duo nodded. I see, well then maybe you guys can help me in some way. However, Naruto noticed he paused in Daimojiman's sentence. Naruto saw the Digimon standing as still as stone. Daimojiman? Then Naruto caught sight of Daimojiman's eyes. The original deep blue color suddenly became overcome with the color of sky blue before mixing and forming a light blue color. Then on its chest, the digital hazard sign formed in violet. Naruto and Doraemon stood back. Yes, you can help me by freeing my master, the fallen angel, Daimojiman said. Doraemon's eyes widened. The same thing seemed to have happened to Raidamon and Diaboromon, but what was happening? What the hell is going on? Doraemon yelled out. My master wishes for Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze to assist in his freedom. Trapped in the dark prison, my master awaits his time for when he will be free, destroying his sovereigns and taking control of the digital world, Daimojiman said in a robotic tone as if he were brainwashed, which he was. However, my master knows of the interference that will be made by the Digimon partner, so you, Doraemon, must be eliminated. Daimojiman charged forward and tried to slash at Doraemon and Naruto. However, the duo jumped over the attack. Naruto drew a kunai, and Doraemon readied his claws. However, the large mole Digimon avoided the slashes from the two and then crashed his larger body against the two. Naruto and Doraemon grunted in pain before righting themselves in midair and landing firmly on their feet. Naruto then took out an explosive note and wrapped it around the handle of his kunai. Then he leapt into the air and threw the weapon, the tag burning from a little application of chakra before the blonde threw it. Doraemon fired metal spheres from his mouth. Metal shoot! Doraemon yelled. The metal spheres flew around the kunai, and then they impacted with Daimojiman's body, and then to add even more damage the kunai embedded itself into Daimojiman's body before exploding. The Daimojiman was sent skidding backwards into a tree. Daimojiman grew angry and then his drill claws began to spin before he thrust them forwards. Mole's Claw! The attack struck the ground where Naruto and Doraemon had stood as they avoided the attack. Tamer and partner landed on the ground. Naruto then charged chakra into his fist and performed an uppercut, sending Daimojiman's chin upwards. Then Naruto spun in the air and performed a roundhouse kick that knocked the Digimon's face to the left. Then he performed his favorite jutsu. Kagebunshin no Jutsu, Naruto yelled as the clone materialized. Then the clone grabbed Naruto as the original formed a Rasengan. The clone threw his creator before puffing out of existence. Rasengan! Naruto yelled, and then the attack struck home, hitting the mole Digimon just below the horn and sent it skidding backwards. Doraemon then followed up by charging into the champion Digimon's chest. Hyper Dash Metal! The purple-furred dragon crashed against the larger Digimon's chest, causing the breath to be forced out of its body. Doraemon then jumped and performed Dash Metal and slammed his skull against Daimojiman's chin before spinning and slamming his tail against the face of the Digimon, and then fired multiple metal spheres from his open maw with a cry of metal shoot. The attacks impacted, but suddenly Daimojiman was surrounded by a violet aura. The master will not rest until Doraemon is destroyed, Daimojiman said. Then the horn on Daimojiman's nose began to spin. Iron Drill Spin! The large horn spun and aimed to impale the small rookie Digimon, but Doraemon leapt over it and opened his mouth. Metal Shoot! The metal spheres impacted with Daimojiman's body as Doraemon completed his flip and slid down Daimojiman's back. The attack did nothing to stop the rampaging champion Digimon. Then Naruto appeared and formed 5 Kagebunshins. One quickly punched the Digimon in its face before another performed a backflip and kicked strongly against Daimojiman's chin. Then the remaining 3, including the original, quickly flashed through hand signs. Katon, Katabakufu no Jutsu / Fire Style, Fire Explosion Jutsu. Large waves of flame flew from the clones and the original's hands and crashed and burned the Digimon. The Daimojiman howled in pain, but then the dark aura grew larger and the flames disappeared. Naruto's eyes widened before the Daimojiman charged forth with surprising speed for someone of his bulk. Iron Drill Spin! The large horn drill attack crashed into the ground as Naruto and Doraemon were barely able to avoid it, and were forced to do it more as they continued to back up until their backs hit a tree. So the two growled as they watched the Daimojiman chuckle before charging forth with his horn, but stopped as he was bombarded with millions of diamond shards. Diamond Storm! Came the voice of the blonde fox Digimon. Naruto and Doraemon, as well as Daimojiman, turned to see Rika and Renamon standing a few feet away from them. Need a little help there, Whiskers? Rika asked with a playful smirk. Naruto's eyes widened as he watched Renamon's fist glow with ghostly blue flames. Power Paw! The fists of flame crashed down on Daimojiman, but seemingly had no effect as Daimojiman just stood there before slamming his paw against the blonde fox and sending Renamon to the ground. Renamon quickly rolled out of the way as Daimojiman brought down his claws with a cry of Mole's Claw. So Whiskers, how are you of all people getting beat you by this overgrown tunnel digger? Rika asked. Because it got some kind of power boost, and the power is dark. I can feel it, Naruto said as he watched the Daimojiman's eyes that were once a beautiful shade of deep blue now filled with the color of ice. Naruto and Doraemon nodded to each other before racing towards the Daimojiman. Naruto quickly took out his Democrat Arkansas as Doraemon leapt into the sky and descended upon the large champion Digimon. Digimodify, Flamedramon activate! Naruto yelled, swiping the new Flamedramon card he got. Doraemon was then coated with orange flames as he crashed down on Daimojiman as caused the champion Digimon to cry out in pain. However, during the battle a pair of large blue eyes watched from a short distance away atop the branches of a tree. Renamon quickly jumped and crossed her arms in front of her. Diamond, but the attack took too long to charge and Daimojiman quickly allowed the drill claws to spin. Mole's Claw! And then slashed as Renamon, allowing her to meet her new best friend, the dirt. Renamon groaned as Doraemon was also hit with the attack. However, before the large Digimon could finish them off, Daimojiman heard movement in the foliage of the nearby oak tree and turned to see the pair of large blue eyes. No witnesses to what has occurred here, besides I was looking for you. Daimojiman quickly slashed down the tree with his claws and then a panicked meow was heard. Everyone looked to see a small white cat that looked like an Egyptian cat, with two large yellow paws on its forearms that seemed to be gloves with 3 large claws on each one. The ears of the cat Digimon were tipped in purple fur as well as the tail. A golden ring was hung on the tail of the newly arrived Digimon. Daimojiman growled as then brought down her claws. Doraemon's eyes widened as he saw the young Daimon about to be deleted. Doraemon quickly rushed forth. Hyper Dash Metal! The dragon Digimon cried out, and then dashed to the side of Daimojiman and crashed against the champion Digimon's face. Rika took out her Democrat Arkansas and scanned the Gatomon. Gatomon, a champion level. Kind of puny for that level of Digivolution. Its gloves are copied from data of Saberlium and hence they are quite strong and near unbreakable. Its attacks are Lightning Paw, Nico Kick and Cat's Eye Hypnotism, Rika read as she looked at the cat Digimon. The white feline then scampered out of the way as Daimojiman nearly fell on top of it. The Daimojiman growled as its dark aura suddenly grew stronger than before. That is it! The mole Digimon roared, and no more games, I will kill you all! The digital hazard sign on the Daimojiman suddenly glowed deep violet before the dark aura surrounded Daimojiman and then surrounded its horn. Iron Tornado of Darkness. A large black and purple twister formed as the drill on Daimojiman's snout began to rotate at rapid speeds. Oh, how I wish Kalyaman were here right now to make Renamon digivolve. Naruto prayed and his prayers were granted. Hi guys, what ya doin'? Kalyaman asked, popping out of nowhere. Then he began to shiver in fear and clutched Naruto's pant leg as the twister grew in speed and power. However, Naruto looked down and was shocked to see the light of Digivolution there. Kalyaman, you're here? He exclaimed. Well, yeah, I went to look for more cream puffs, but then I went to look for you since there were none after I left, Kalyaman said. Renamon, who was punching away with her power paw, but had no effect on Daimojiman, was suddenly sucked up into the tornado. Renamon! Rika cried out as her Digimon was taken into the dark wind circulation system. Doraemon ran up to Gatomon and helped the feline try to get somewhere safe, but then looked as Gatomon was clinging for dear life as the tornado was trying to suck her in. Let's end this! Daimojiman shouted and then thrust his head downwards, and then the tornado blasted outwards in a large crescent of darkness heading straight for Gatomon and Doraemon. Doraemon growled and then looked at Naruto. Digimodify, Wardryman's Brave Shield activate! The blonde Tamer yelled. However, the defense hadn't formed fast enough and Doraemon was forced to take the hit for Gatomon. Gatomon looked in shock as the dragon Digimon, no larger than herself, held its own against the dark winds. The attack ended and Renamon was lying on the ground covered in slash marks. Doraemon seemed to be smoking and Gatomon was shocked. Why did you do it? The feline Digimon asked. I honestly don't know, but even if I don't know you, I can't let someone as young as you, someone who had just arrived in this world, to be taken away from it, Doraemon said, as then coughed as he dropped to one knee. Gatomon quickly stood up and rested the dragon on the soft grass. You will live, please, at least let me know the name of my rescuer, Gatomon said. Doraemon smirked. Doraemon, and don't forget it, Doraemon said with a chuckle and then passed out. Naruto looked in shock as his Digimon was knocked out from the attack, then he spotted Calumet. A/N. I know most of you would be thinking, this is where Doraemon digivolves. Well, it's not. And I'm sorry for the spoilers right here, but it's in the next chapter that Doraemon will digivolve later. Sorry to disappoint, but it will be soon. Rika, digivolve Renamon! He yelled. Rika nodded and then her Democrat Arkansas was glowing and then a light erupted from it along with a red glow from Calumet's inverted red triangle. Digivolution. Renamon was suddenly encased in a swirling blue egg of data. Renamon digivolved too. Renamon's skin peeled away to reveal a larger form covered by a wire frame pattern. The skin then reattached itself to Renamon's body to form her champion's form, changed to resemble a large golden and white-furred kitsune with the edges of the white fur that glowed with mystical blue flames on the paws. Instead of one tail, 8 more had sprouted out, now 9 blonde-colored tails, each tipped with white fur that seemed to also glow with mystical blue flames just like her paw fur. The bottom of Cubimon's mouth was white and 2 purple slash marks were shown underneath her still glacial blue eyes, and a large white mane extended along the entire length of her neck. The yin-yang symbol was shown above each of her 4 legs and one lay on the center of her forehead. A white and red rope tied in a bow with 2 golden bells attached to it was wrapped around her neck. The egg exploded as the champion Digimon howled. Cubimon! The mystical 9-tailed fox Digimon howled before charging at Drymojimon, and then tackled the Digimon to the ground before jumping into the air and spinning. Dragon Wheel! A mystical blue dragon of flame formed and rocketed towards Drymojimon, and impacted, causing the mole Digimon to cry out in pain. Rasengan! Naruto cried out, and then slammed his spiraling chakra sphere into the side of the beast before unconsciously drawing on Kyuubi's chakra and punched the Digimon, sending it flying, literally. Rika, Renamon and Gatomon watched in shock at the feat Naruto performed. Kyubimon, some fire! Naruto cried out as he formed 8 shadow clones and each of them held a Rasengan. Kyubimon seemed to have caught on, and then her tails fanned out as each was tipped with a ghostly blue fireball. Foxtail Inferno! Each fireball rocketed towards Drymojimon, but then the Narutos intercepted with their Rasengans before the chakra balls became chakra ball of blue flame. The clone then rushed Drymojimon, who was still getting up off the ground. This is for Doraemon, you me! Naruto yelled. Collaboration Jutsu, Rasen Di Kaji / Collaboration Jutsu, Spiraling Inferno. And then the blue fireballs impacted and drilled tornadoes of flame deep into the body of Drymojimon, and then a large explosion occurred, sending Naruto flying backwards and rolling on the ground. Gatomon quickly aided in lifting Doraemon and taking him to his tamer, but struggled since Doraemon was quite heavy to lift due to her small body frame. However, a blonde foxtail landed next to her. Need some help? Cubimon asked. Gatomon nodded, and then the tail wrapped itself around the 2 smaller Digimon and rested them on her back. Rika watched Naruto lying there still on the ground covered in dust. Naruto! She cried in alarm and then knelt down by his body. Whiskers, Naruto, are you okay? She asked. Naruto groaned and then turned to see Rika looking down on him. Huh, am I dead? I think I'm seeing angels, Naruto said as he rubbed his eyes. Rika blushed at the angel comment and then helped Naruto sit up. That was amazing what you did back there, but also stupid, Rika said. Naruto and Rika chuckled at that remark. True, but stupid decisions are often the right ones, Rika-chan, Naruto said as he turned to Doraemon. I attacked with everything I had. For Doraemon, Rika looked confused. I know he's your partner, why do you fight so hard for him? Rika asked. Naruto let a small smile grace his face as he slowly, with Rika's help, stood to his feet. Because He's like a brother to me and I don't want to lose him, Naruto said and sighed in relief when he saw Cubamon walk up to him and Rika with a slowly breathing Doraemon and a worried Gatomon that looked down at the dragon. Naruto smiled at the cat Digimon. He will be alright, Gatomon the blonde said. Gatomon looked up from the face of her savior to look at the tamer. Gatomon's eyes widened and then she smiled a bit before nodding and then looking back at Doraemon. Why did you save me? She still wondered. The feline Digimon watched the unconscious dragon Digimon with curiosity. And thanks. Cubamon, why don't you take them to the lake to get washed up? Naruto suggested. Cubamon nodded and took the two younger Digimon to the lake in the park. The two humans watched as the large nine-tailed fox left the scene. Why didn't you go? You are filthy, Rika said looking at the dirt-covered Naruto. Naruto smirked, and then formed hand signs. Because I can do this, he stated. Suiton, Yuyaku Shimasu no Jutsu / water style, condensation jutsu. And then the water vapor in the air suddenly became visible and then a torrent splashed down on him, wetting Rika a bit. Hey, watch it, Whiskers, Rika yelled. Naruto chuckled and then formed more hand signs and then ended on the Tora sign. Gomen Nasai, let me get that. Katon, Deisui Shimasu no Jutsu / fire style, dehydration jutsu. And then a large burst of hot air was expelled from Naruto's body, drying his clothes and Rika's of whatever water was on it. Rika looked in awe. I might never get over the fact you're a ninja, Whiskers, Rika said. Naruto chuckled. Say Rika-chan? Naruto asked. The redhead looked over at the blonde. Wanna go get some ice cream? It's still only 9 o'clock. They might still be open, Naruto suggested. Rika thought for a while. She was feeling kind of in the mood for something. Yeah, sure, why not? This isn't a date, is it? She asked with a slight blush. Naruto blushed also at the mentioning of his proposal being a date. Of course not, Naruto said with an embarrassed chuckle, just offering a friend some ice cream, he added. Rika gulped and forced her blush down. Okay. The ice cream shop is somewhere near here, she said, and then as the two walked down the street, Rika realized something. Since when have you seen me as a friend? She asked. What do you mean? He asked, obviously confused by Rika's question. I mean, I've acted horrible to you in the beginning. I still remain closed off to everyone even though it has lessened a bit. But I don't know you that well, and other than the fact you're from a whole other universe, and that you're a shinobi, Rika said. Naruto then smirked. Rika, you're a tamer, and judging from your change in character, I'd say you've finally begun to open up to people, sort of. Also, you're a nice girl. You care for people you trust, and also you care for your Digimon, Renamon now. Ever since then, I've looked to you as a friend. Anyone like you would automatically be registered as a friend in my book, he said, placing his hands behind his head. Rika blushed lightly at the compliments he gave her. Arigato, Naruto, she said, and then they arrived at the ice cream shop. The two walked up to the store owner and asked them what they wanted. Naruto got vanilla while Rika got strawberry, and just in case, they got 3 more ice cream orders, in cups so it would be easier to carry. Chocolate for Doraemon and Renamon, and just plain vanilla for the new recruit Gatomon. As the two tamers walked back to the park, licking their cones, Naruto began to start up a small conversation. So, what are your likes, dislikes, and dreams for the future? He asked. Rika paused in her licking and looked confused at the blonde Jinchuriki. Huh, was all she could say. Well, you wanted to get to know me better. So I say I will do the same. So what do you like, dislike in your dreams? He asked. Rika thought for a while. She didn't really have a lot of stuff that she liked. Well, honestly, I would say I like Digimon, Renamon in particular, playing the card game, rock music, and I guess my friends. But since you are probably one of the only true friends I have, Whiskers, I would just say that I like you. Of course not in that way as in I like you. Rika blushed as she tried to cover up her statement, knowing it sounded wrong. Naruto blushed a bit, and scratched high whisker-marked cheek and shook his hands. Calm now, Rika-chan. It's an honest mistake, he said, although I wish you did like me that way. Anyways, my dislikes are those stupid bimbos in my class who only think about boys and looking good and buying a whole lot of makeup, those weird clothes my Oka-chan gets me. She's away on a trip in Italy right now, but I really hope she doesn't bring me back anything, Rika said. I'm sure she only does what's best for you, Rika-chan. Besides, be glad you have your Oka-chan with you, Naruto said with a sad smile. Rika's eyes widened. Oh, right, your parents. They died, she remembered with a gasp. Naruto told it was nothing to worry about and then asked what her dreams for the future were. Well, honestly, I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I'm only 12, you're 13, and finding a career you want to do in the future is hard to decide in this place. I mean, there are just so many possibilities, Rika said. Naruto nodded, and then his eyes brightened up at the realization that Rika was actually opening up to him. She really has changed this past month, he thought. So tell me your likes, dislikes, and dreams, Whiskers, she told him. Naruto nodded and then began. Okay, well, I'll start off with my dreams. Well, right now, since I've come to this universe, my old dream, and besides, since I was banished from Konoha, my dream to become leader of Konoha was crushed. But I found a new dream, he said, beaming. Which is? To protect all those people who I hold precious to me, Naruto said. He then finished his ice cream as Rika also finished hers. That's so deep, she thought. Anyways, my dislikes are the amount of time it takes for instant ramen to cook, evil Digimon, anyone who speaks ill of Digimon like as if they were nothing but data. I hated you a bit for that, but I could notice that you actually cared for Rinamon after she nearly died, Naruto said. You hated me? She asked. Naruto shrugged. The feeling was mutual since I kicked Renamons, but when we first met, Naruto said. Rika chuckled and then lightly punched him in the shoulder. Hey, you caught us off guard with not knowing who exactly you were, and besides, Doraemon doesn't show any data like Gilman, Rika said. Naruto chuckled before Rika told him to continue. Well, my likes are my friends, my Digimon cards, training with Doraemon so we can get stronger, and also... Naruto paused. Rika looked confused. Also what? She asked. Naruto looked at her with a mischievous grin. Well, when I was walking with you back to your house, I hung back actually so I could get a good look at your ass, and I can honestly say it's in my top 5, Naruto said. Rika turned crimson. You what? Rika yelled. Naruto laughed, and then took off for the park with an enraged Rika Nanaka chasing him. Get back here, Whiskers, so I can beat you up. The red-haired female roared with anime flames in her eyes. Naruto still laughed as he ran, which annoyed Rika to no end. Shinjuku Park. Cubimon was sitting with a clean Doraemon and Gatomon, who were both laying down against her body. Gatomon was still awake, but had Doraemon lying down in her lap. Cubimon smirked at the scene. Only a few minutes out in this world and Gatomon has already found someone to care for, the blonde fox thought. She looked around for Calumet, but shrugged mentally when she saw no sign of he little cream puff Digimon, as he always disappeared after a battle. Then her ears perked up along with Gatomon's as they both heard the sounds of laughing and yelling. Then they saw Naruto running from an enraged Rika. The blonde Tamer skidded to a halt. As a result, Rika kept running and ran smack into him, and she fell back on her, as Naruto had said a few minutes ago while they were running. Sweet ass. Now you stopped, Rika panted. Naruto smirked. It was a compliment, and besides, it is one of the things I like, so I'm being honest and you get a compliment. It's a win-win for you, the blonde Jinchuriki said. Meanwhile, Kyubi no Kitsune was laughing his ass off in the cage. Dear Kami-sama, the kid is too much. I wonder if I could pull off a move like that and get away with it. Probably, the red-furred Bijou thought. Naruto then held out his little bag and then handed Rinamon the cup of ice cream they got her. Here you go, Rinamon, he said, handing her it. What is it? She asked, sniffing the chocolate ice cream. It's ice cream, it tastes good, he said. Cubimon sniffed it some more before taking the entire cup in her mouth, chewing it, and then swallowed before spitting out the styrofoam cup. How did you do that? Naruto asked. I have nimble teeth, the champion-level Digimon thought. Naruto then handed Gatomon the vanilla ice cream, and upon seeing Rinamon eating her ice cream, the feline Digimon thought it was safe and so followed suit. Then after that, Doraemon had finally awoken. What happened? He asked, sitting up. Then his memory came to life and he jumped up. Okay, where's that Draimojimon? I can take it. Let me destroy that thing. Where's Gatman? He asked. Naruto pointed behind him, and the dragon Digimon sighed in relief at seeing the feline Digimon was safe. Are you okay? He asked. Gatomon nodded. Hi. Arigato for saving me back there, Gatomon replied in a shy tone that eerily reminded Naruto of the conversations he and a certain shy Hyuga always had. Doraemon smirked. No problem, Gatomon, Doraemon said, and then placed a clawed paw on her shoulder. A/N. Gatomon is female. Yes, in case anyone was wondering, Gataman looked shocked and then smiled back at the dragon Digimon. Doraemon, here, I got you some ice cream for your hard work, Naruto said. Doraemon smiled and then ate the chocolate ice cream with extreme vigor. After that, the group rested for a while. Naruto and Rika were lying down next to each other on the grass, observing the glittering stars in the dark expanse that was the night sky. So this has been one weird night for you, huh? Rika asked. Naruto shrugged. I've had weirder, he replied, and then looked at his watch. It said 10 o'clock. The blonde then sat up and climbed to his feet. He then extended his hand for Rika to grab so as to help her up. She reluctantly allowed him to do so, and then Naruto turned to the 3 Digimon. Cubamon had been de-digivolved a while ago using Naruto's data extraction card. Hey guys, let's go, Naruto said. The group nodded and then Naruto walked Rika home. They turned onto the streets where her house was. Naruto and Rika stopped with Rinamon silently leaping over the gate to rest in her tree in Rika's yard. Rika turned and faced Naruto. Arigato, for the ice cream, and the talk, Rika said. Naruto nodded. Of course, anytime, he replied. So is it true that you really like my... She paused as her face turned red from her blush. Of course, I'd never lie about that. Like I said, it's in my top 5, probably 3rd coming after my friends in my original world, Hinata and Kurenai, Naruto replied. Rika nodded and blushed again. Well, see you, she said, and then went through the door. Naruto watched her leave. That thing you got behind you is a Mazin, he sang, followed by a chuckle, quoting the song Body Language by Jesse McCartney. Rika blushed as he saw him make a circle with his index and thumb while his 3 fingers pointed up in the form of an OK sign. Urasai, Whiskers, she said, but smiled all the while before entering her house. Inside Rika's house. Well, Rika, it's nice to see you hanging out with that nice boy, Seiko said. Rika blushed. It wasn't a date, she exclaimed. Seiko raised her eyebrow. I never said it was, Rika, does that it was? The elderly Nanaka said, and then watched her granddaughter search for words to come back. So he says you have a nice behind? She asked, changing the topic. This resulted in causing Rika to turn crimson due to a blush that could give even Hinata a run for her money. OBH on. The fiery-haired girl whined in embarrassment. Oh, come on, Rika, your ass is something a girl should be proud of. I guess you got something other than your natural good looks from your mother, Seiko said. Rika blushed again before walking off to her room, not wanting to hear any more. Seiko sighed. This is just how Makino acted when she was crushing for a boy. I know Rika made the right decision in liking this particular Naruto boy, she thought with a small smile. On the way to Naruto's apartment, Naruto, Doraemon, and Gataman were walking down the road from Rika's house back to the apartment. So, finally made your move, Doraemon said with a sly grin. Naruto blushed slightly while Gataman looked confused. I don't understand, Doraemon? The feline Digimon asked. Oh, Naruto, that's the name of this boy here. He's my Tamer, and he had a little crush on Rika, the red-haired girl who is a Tamer to the Rinamon, Doraemon explained. Gataman nodded and then looked at Naruto. So, you feel feelings of compassion towards your red-haired friend? Gataman asked. Naruto was flabbergasted as Gataman asked the question with pure innocence. Yes? He guessed his answer. Gataman nodded. I see, so that means that would later want to copulate with her? What the hell does copulate mean? Naruto asked. Gataman sighed. Humans lacked vocabulary, she thought. Undergoes sexual intercourse, she explained. Naruto turned bright red as his face burned from the blood rushing to it, and Doraemon laughed. Gataman seemed to smirk a bit at Naruto's reaction. Nanny, no. Well, yes, maybe in a later time, but no, okay. And no, I do not want to have sex with Rika-chan, he said. Gataman nodded. Okay, she replied. Naruto sighed. Now that the conversation was over, it was silent until Doraemon brought up an interesting topic. So, Gataman, where will you stay? Doraemon asked. Gataman looked confused. What do you mean? The white cat asked the purple dragon. I mean, are you going to stay out here in the cold night? Or... Doraemon paused and then he saw Naruto glance down at him. Naruto smiled warmly before bending down to Doraemon's ears so he could whisper to him and Gataman wouldn't hear. I see that I'm not the only one with a developing crush, he teased the dragon Digimon. Doraemon seemed to have blushed, but it was hard to tell. but you could tell he was embarrassed from Naruto's comeback at the remarks between him and Rika. Don't worry, she can stay. Doraemon's orange eyes brightened in glee. Yes, Doraemon? Gataman asked, goading Doraemon to continue his question. Well, maybe you could stay with me and Naruto the Dragon, Digimon said. Gataman's eyes widened, her crystal blue irises staring into Doraemon's golden orange ones. Really, stay with you? The cat Digimon asked, with what appeared to be a slight blush. Doraemon nodded. A/N. I'm sorry if you think there is a lot of blushing occurring. So, will you? The rookie Digimon asked the champion-level feline. Said feline thought for a while. She was basically alone. But why? Why do you ask, though? I mean, we just met like a few hours ago, Gataman asked. Doraemon smirked. Because, in that time I was able to see you for who you were. You're a strong Digimon, but I can see the loneliness in your eyes. You have been alone in the digital world probably, and you've no one to talk to be a friend or a family member to you. As a result, you find it a bit hard to trust others, Doraemon said. Gataman's eyes widened as the young rookie had described her entire life in the digital world in just a few words. Gataman then knew she could trust the slightly taller dragon Digimon, as in his eyes she saw the same feeling of loneliness she had. Maybe the void in her heart could be filled by making friends with this new Digimon. Arigato, I will stay with you and Naruto, Gataman said. Doraemon smirked, and then hugged the cat Digimon. Yay! He exclaimed before letting her go. Gataman froze as she felt a warm, fuzzy feeling in her. What is this feeling? Is this happiness? I've never felt happiness other than when I escaped from being deleted, Gataman thought, but decided not to think about it and followed the duo back to the apartment. As they entered the apartment, Naruto first had Doraemon show Gataman around the apartment before having them go to sleep. Naruto was in his pajamas as he and Doraemon slept on their bunk beds, but Gataman, being polite, said she would sleep on the couch. Are you sure? They asked, and she nodded. With that, Gataman slept, but during the night Gataman tossed in her couch bed. Gataman's dream. Gataman was running through the digital world. A large wave of what looked like shadow was racing after her. Gataman ran as fast as she could, but the shadow was too fast. But the last thing she saw before the shadows engulfed her was the image of a humanoid Digimon with the image of an angel. Her eyes widened as she recognized this Digimon from the hearing stories and seeing pictures from the older Digimon she had managed to befriend. A scream echoed in her dream as the scream was released from her mouth. The name of the Digimon was. And Gataman's dream. Loose-mon, Gataman gasped as she sat up on the couch. She looked around the room and breathed heavily. She then got up and walked towards Naruto and Doraemon's room. She saw the light for the bathroom was on, meaning Naruto was in it since Doraemon was still snoring. Gataman then climbed to the top bunk where Doraemon lay asleep. She gently nudged the dragon Digimon until he woke. Huh, he said, wiping his eyes. Gataman, what's wrong? The dragon Digimon asked. I had a nightmare and I was wondering if it wasn't too much trouble, if I could lie down with you. Gataman asked. Doraemon seemed to have woken up a bit more from the question, but saw the look of need and fear in her crystal blue eyes. Doraemon's gaze softened and he nodded. Sure, and then Gataman immediately latched onto him like a child would a blanket or a stuffed toy. Doraemon slowly developed a blush as blood rushed to his face, but then he sighed. He then positioned himself so Gataman was lying on his chest. Then his tail wrapped around her small feline waist, and the two fell asleep. The toilet flushed and Naruto stepped out after using the lavatory. However, before switching off the light, he noticed the light shining on the sleeping Digimon. Doraemon was lying down on his back, with Gataman's head resting on his chest. Their tails were slightly intertwined, with Doraemon's being long enough to be able to do that and also be wrapped around the cat Digimon's waist. Then he saw Doraemon's left arm wrapped around her shoulders and Gataman's left hand being held by Doraemon's right. It was a cute little picture in the mind of the blonde shinobi, and he smiled warmly before turning off the light. Doraemon, you have just found someone else to protect, and thus, you have become that much stronger, the blonde thought before he retired to the land of dreams just like the other two Digimon.